Hello, welcome to Tabletop Legends. This is episode 23. We are coming to you live this week. Last week was a pre-recorded episode, right. We rejoin the party for part 2 of the story arc that I have decided to call the Imaginarium of Bolus Trollyweather. I guess our sound works. The Imaginarium of Bolus Trollyweather, because I couldn't come up with a better name. That's what we're stuck with now. So, part 2. A little bit of a refresher for you guys, a little bit of a refresher for folks in the audience. You guys have taken a contract from Colin Copperkettle, one of the 3 members of the Collective of the Arcane Eye, to travel to the town of
Square Circle?
Lakeside town of Laguna.
That's yes.
To look in... What?
I said, alright, I made that terrible pun.
The town of Laguna. To look in on a friend of his, one halfling, antiquities collector, and overall eccentric trust fund guy, Bolus Trollyweather, who had written him to tell him that he had come across a tome that he thought was promising in dealing with the sort of mind-afflicting curse that Colin Copperkettle suffers from. But after that, stopped responding to correspondence, never wrote back, and it had been about 3 months since Colin had heard from his friend, and he asked you guys to travel to the Trollyweather estate and look in on the man and see what was going on. You arrived in the town, where you basically learned that the folks in the town hadn't really seen or heard from anyone up at the Trollyweather estate for a while, which was maybe a little unusual, but the circumstances were such that it had not arisen overt suspicion enough to warrant a real thorough investigation.
Because they were still getting delivered.
Supplies were still being delivered, payment was being given for the household supplies. But when you guys went out there and did a little bit of digging around, you found a few things. The servants' quarters, the stables had been abandoned for some significant amount of time, and all of the supplies being brought from the town, apparently someone was throwing them in the well after they were left there. You saw on a 3rd floor window a curtain move, and decided that some real shifty nonsense was going on in this house, and you were going to go inside and investigate. You did discover that while all of the curtains were open and you could look in on most of the 1st floor, you couldn't get access to the house from any of the other doorways except the front door. And when you went in, we ended last week's session as a horrifying mutant, half-man, half-wooden door puppet man emerged from the inside of the door, basically delivered a sweet villainous one-liner, and then the floor of the foyer of this mansion just collapsed, and you guys fell and were falling into a bottomless pit before blacking out, unconscious. So we're going to start today's session by having everybody roll a Constitution saving throw.
We all take 100 points of falling damage.
Yep, you're all dead.
Roll new characters.
Roll 3d6.
Surprise!
3d6 again.
Surprise new character generation day.
You said Constitution?
Constitution saving throw.
23.
23.
9.
19.
No, never this nice.
I'm sure my pies are going to be in great shape.
3, okay.
Roll Constitution save for your pies.
Golden D20, by the way. Do we know who has it?
Forget.
I have Walter for Grand Theft Wagon. I know that was 2
Oh
sessions
no, it was for
ago,
Pumpkin Spice.
but I think it was
Yes,
Walter
yeah,
again, and
Pumpkin
that's
Spice.
why I just left it there. So Walter has the Golden D20 tonight for Pumpkin Spice last week.
I already rolled. I was going to vote on this because I saw what I rolled, but...
Well, it's okay. So you guys, nobody takes any damage. But Kel, as you had the highest Constitution saving throw there, you are the first one to wake up. You come to consciousness, and you are lying on the ground. The space around you is dark. The floor beneath you feels kind of cold, a little clammy and damp. The air has a musty, sort of a stale smell to it. You can make out, kind of around you, the general shape of the room that you're in. You see that there are stone walls, and above your head, you see not some ridiculously long ascent into, like, the pit that you perceived yourselves falling in before. Only about 15 feet above you, you see just floorboards of the floor above. You can kind of determine that it seems like you were in the basement. And as you look around, you see the other 5 members of the party are kind of just laying all mishmash in a pretty tight area right near you. Everybody else is just seems to be unconscious. You don't immediately see any wounds or injuries on them. They just look like they're unconscious and they're on the floor.
I'm gonna try to stand up.
Okay, yep, you stand up, no problem.
Going to start trying to wake up Brahm.
Okay, so, Brahm, you are shaken awake, and you see Kel standing over you, and you see the same description of this room that I just gave him.
He's suddenly wearing a white sweater, an orange ascot, and says, "There's a mystery afoot." Let's get everyone awake and immediately split up.
Yeah, a dog comes out of the one of the side chambers and goes, "Ruh-roh! Ruh!" No, so you're woken up.
Rom goes, and I'm Daphne.
Wait, does that make me Scooby?
You're Scrappy too.
No, we will not inflict that horror on you.
I don't know. We can discuss everybody's Scooby-Doo spirit animal during the break this week. So, Brahm, what are you doing? You've been shaken awake?
Are we dead?
I wish we were.
All right, great. Let's stand up.
Alright, so you get up. You guys are in this basement room. The other 4 are still kind of unconscious around you. You do see that the basement that you appear to be in, it does seem to be segmented into a number of like separate rooms. So you are in a chamber. There are a number of other doors out of this area into other parts of the basement.
What's the lighting?
Dark. So anyone without dark... Well, no. You 2 have dark vision. You're the only ones awake right now. But I will tell you. It is dark, but the lighting... In mechanical terms, the lighting is dim lighting. Because what you can actually see as you take a little bit of a stock of the area here is you see there is a faint, kind of an orangish glow coming from one of the doorways to another part of this basement.
I say we check that out and then wake everyone else up.
It sounds like a terrible idea. Hold on, I have an idea. And I'm gonna lean in like really close to Walter's like unconscious form. Wally, get up! You're gonna be late for school.
Eldritch Blast.
Roll the hit!
Oh god. That's a lot.
The one time he doesn't roll low.
My con save was a much lower.
I thought you were gonna use the.
So what's your to hit?
No, it's like
It's 19 plus things.
Oh,
19
damage.
plus 2, like 7.
It's bolt up right
It's
and
2.
shove
It's 2. It's just
Rob,
2.
you lean in, you say this, and Walter just like
Just soft puppet hand.
starts awake, and subconsciously just like puts a hand onto your chest, and you're just like poof, knocked several feet backwards from him. You take 2 points of force damage from his
Sorry.
his Eldritch Blast.
I'm not in trash, right?
You are not in trash. You are on the kind of stone floor of this basement.
Sorry, I don't do Will's surprises when I'm sleeping.
I did get Upsarian, I'm like slightly smoking.
I think
What the shit, Walter?
I think we'll say the flash of light from the Eldritch Blast and Brahm's subsequent yell is enough to rouse Nulo, Alar, and Ronnie from your guys' unconsciousness.
I come up pulling a knife.
You come up to like a slightly steaming half orc.
Let's light this splinter up, Walter. See what's going on.
More Eldritch
What?
Blasts.
What was that?
With the lights.
Yes. And I'll flip some dancing lights on and get some rays up in this.
All right, so you pop up these dancing light orbs and illuminate this space. You are in a more illuminated chamber of a basement now. The room that you are in is maybe 15 by 20. Doesn't have anything in it besides you guys. And it has a handful of doors kind of like around the perimeter. And then there is the one with the sort of orangey illumination coming from it.
Alright.
Now we should split up to go through all these doors more efficiently. I'll go with the two very sturdy Dragonborn.
I didn't hit my head right.
You did
I
not.
mean, I did, but like not really. 'Cause
Kel?
I think Kel has a Kel, are you okay?
Also, where did the
we went
ascot
into
come
a
from?
monster house and fell
Kel's got a
no
nail
one
in
knows how
Magnus'
long
head.
into a pit that suddenly has a ceiling.
Yeah, what's
I mean,
weird
no,
about
I'm
that?
not okay.
Okay, so let's stick together, and we'll go through the lit door, so we can possibly survive this nightmare that I'm not entirely sure I'm still awake from.
What if the lit door is the door they want us to go through?
Well, it sounds like Walter volunteered, so I think it's fine.
Go ahead, Walter.
Alright, Mage-Hand.
Whoa.
So it's not actually a closed door. It's just an open doorway into another
I'm
part.
gonna mage hand the void
All right,
where the
you
door would be.
you like gently caress the door frame.
Right. Sensual with the door.
Okay. That's adorable. Gonna see if I can summon Scooter.
Yep. Scooter pops into existence.
Okay.
Right.
That's
now
good.
Now we know weasels work in this house.
We also know that summoning something from somewhere else works. Knowledge is
I
power.
think as far as we're concerned, that's Scooter and Morgan.
Yep.
So, weasels and birds are on the table. Got
Morgan
it.
appears.
Morgan appears.
It's a little bit of tight quarters for Morgan though.
She's
She's
a
not
bit
really going to be
disgruntled.
able to take to wing, but she can, if you want her on her shoulder, you can.
She's just
do that.
disgruntled.
Alright, who's gonna start kicking down doors?
There's no door.
There's no door.
Figuratively.
Just start kicking down non-doors!
Alright,
I'll go first.
All right, so you're heading towards the lit door, one of the other doors.
We might as well check the lit door first since it's open.
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
Roll for doors.
Roll for doors.
19?
You make your way towards the lit door, and you see another chamber of this basement. You don't see the source of the light in this next room over. You see that it is kind of like it has like an L shape to it, so like you're kind of here, and the light seems to be filtering more from around this way. But you do notice as you are kind of peeking through the doorway. The light sort of like flickers for a moment. You get the impression as if like something passed in front of the source of light.
Reach into the coat. Pull
Get
out
some
the-
music up in this piece.
Pull out the hand crossbow.
Forgot about that.
I'm gonna see you pull out the hand crossbow, and I'm gonna pull out the
And Eldritch Blast.
I pull out finger guns. I guess that would almost make sense, wouldn't it?
Totally forgot to put our music up. It's a wee bit loud, I think.
It's a bit whimsical.
This is the proficiency bonus official background music.
TM.
Going to backpedal a little bit.
I think there's something in there.
Get the shovel.
Hopefully a whole room.
Hammer.
Something moving in there.
I mean, in this house, that could still be the room.
Yes. So be ready. Okay. And I'm gonna go through the doorway.
All right.
and edge up to the side there. And turn around. You know.
So like SWAT team style.
Yes.
You're like, poof.
Yep.
Okay. So you spin round the corner, pointing your crossbow down. There is another open doorway in front of you, and you can see into the chamber beyond it. The room beyond. You see the source of the light. It is a large cast iron furnace. It sits against the far wall of the room from where you're the other room from where you're standing, and there is like a brick housing built around it. It has a circular front and two identical, symmetrical, like hatch doors where you would feed coal into it, and that is what it is. It is glowing as the coal within inside is lit and casting this orange, this orangish illumination through these slats in the coverings. There are a number of metal like ventilation pipes coming out of it, and like you see them disappearing into the ceiling in different places where they would like go all through the house. And there is there's a metal door you see behind, like on the wall next to the furnace. There's a metal door set into a hinge on the wall that opens on a horizontal axis. It opens this way. It is currently not secured. You see there's like a latch where it would be locked down, but it's popped open and it's partially ajar, and there's just like a bunch of coal spilled out of it, making a big pile on the floor. There are a number of other doors in this chamber. So from where you are looking in, the furnace is directly ahead of you. There are two doors to your right, and there is one doorway to your left. And as you are looking in, you don't see anything, but you hear a voice. And it's speaking very quietly, and it's this sort of just like this indistinct, unbroken monologue. It almost sounds like somebody like muttering to themselves.
So there's
So can we go back to the room that we were in and get how many doors were there?
So from where you woke up, you passed through a door into an L-shaped room. Alar went to the corner of the L-shaped room.
But there were a bunch of doors in the room that we started in.
Oh yeah, there were. Let's say there were 4 other doors in the room that you started in.
Okay. And then which one did we go through?
You went through the illuminated one. I will tell you guys, for reasons that will become apparent as we progress through tonight's session, like a lot of tonight's stuff is going to be theater of the mind, and you'll probably understand why as we go forward, like why that's a necessity. So I'll kind of do my best to weave the tapestry of imagination for you, but you definitely, like, if you need clarification on something, just ask me, and I'll try to.
I'm thinking about trying to do the same thing, Cross. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it.
I think it's not.
So there is 2 doors on the left, I guess.
So let's, like, you basically started in a chamber with 4 doors in it. We'll say the 4 doors are at like each of the cardinal directions of the room.
Okay.
One of them had the illumination. That's the one you passed through.
Yes.
Passing through that room led you into that's like sort of L-shaped room. And it's not like a big, long L-shaped room. It was maybe 10 feet to like the corner, and then as Alar peeks around the corner, it's only another couple of feet before there's a doorway. And as you peek around, he is then looking through another doorway into the room where the furnace is. And that's what you've kind of walked through so far.
Okay, the muttering, is it to the left? Or
It
to
is
the
coming from the right towards where the 2 doors are.
There was one door on the right. I thought.
Is that what I said? I thought I said 2 doors on the right, 1 door on the left.
That's what I had.
Right.
This is a house of horrors.
Okay.
So
Going to edge into the room with the furnace.
Okay.
Moving along the wall on the right-hand side.
I
will follow.
Yeah, so you're following him in. What are the rest of you guys doing? Where are you positioning yourselves?
I am going to get close to the coal pile.
Okay, so
I guess like following him along, and then I'll just head towards the coal pile.
okay, so just to visualize it for you, basically, you can certainly as you're following him along, as he's edging that against that right wall, he is heading towards where that coal pile is.
Okay.
But you would have to pass him and pass in front of both of these doorways to get to the coal pile.
Okay,
Are these open
I'll-
doors or?
One of them has a door that is shut. The other does have a door in it, but you see it is ajar currently. So you're following Alar. You're following Alar. Where are you and where are you?
Follow you.
You're following
I'll
Alar.
follow her.
Okay, so you guys are like Scooby doing it in a line along the
Yep.
wall here.
You still have your ass down.
So, as you guys begin to approach quietly towards this door, you can definitely hear the source of the muttering is coming from that ajar door, and you guys all kind of freeze as somebody comes out of it. He is a human man. He appears to be in his mid-30s, and he's wearing a pair of gardener's overalls over top of a tattered cotton shirt. He is filthy, almost beyond your ability to discern his features. Covered in grime, covered in dirt, covered in coal dust. And he sort of is walking with this kind of hunched, shuffling gait. His upper body's kind of bobbing back and forth, and he has something in his hands that you see as you're kind of watching him. Turns out to be a potato. Just a raw potato. And he comes out and he's sort of muttering to himself. He's looking around. He doesn't look directly at any of you. He doesn't even seem to really notice that you guys are there. And as you're listening, you can kind of catch snippets of words and phrases as he's kind of making his way out of this room, and he's kind of heading over towards where the furnace is. You kind of hear him, say things like, "Out, but not out. No. It's just waiting. And a lot of the rest is just kind of nonsense. He doesn't seem to be very coherent. And he is moving from where he came out of that door. He walks over. Are any of you doing anything at this point, I should ask you?
I am going to grip up my shovel and just watch the guy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm not moving. I'm just be as still as possible.
Yeah, I'm frozen against the wall like this, and I'm just watching him with my eyes.
All right.
Who's waiting?
Okay, so you say this, and he kind of you see he freezes for a second. He looks around. He doesn't turn towards you. He actually looks at the coal pile, and he tucks his potato into his overalls, and he moves over, and there's a shovel, like a coal shovel, leaning against the furnace, and he grabs it, and he very tentatively pokes the coal pile with it, drops the shovel and backs up, as if expecting it was gonna jump up and attack him. And when it doesn't, he kind of that might not be safe here anymore. And he turns and he starts walking vaguely in your direction. He still doesn't seem to have taken note of you directly. He's kind of hunched, looking down. You see he reaches back into his overalls and gets his potato back out, and he's chewing it. There's raw potato juice dripping down his chin, leaving streaks in the coal dust on his face. And he's walking. It looks like he's maybe heading towards that other closed door, right near where you guys have come. But he is at this point hobbling on a beeline, right at where you guys are standing.
Do you like pie?
So you say this, and he starts up as he is almost just about to bump into Nula, and he looks up and he takes a half a step back, seeming finally to like notice you guys for the first time. And he looks at you, and he takes another bite of his potato and like chews, and he seems to be considering you for a moment.
Pie has to be better than a potato.
And he looks at you and he says, "When I was a boy, a giant spider moved into a cave by the lakeside. I had a treehouse. I could see the webs from up high. Do you understand? One morning, I saw a deer walk into the webs and get caught. The wretched creature, it struggled, trying to free itself, but it only made it worse. Do you understand?
No.
The deer, it exhausted itself trying to escape. And when the spider finally came, it didn't even resist as it was wrapped up and had its life drained." And he looks at you like imploringly. He's like, "Do you understand?"
Yeah, I
I
get it.
think I
Yeah.
understand.
He nods. He's good. I got out, but you can't get out. There's no getting out, but better than the others. And he takes another bite of his potato. He says, "You understand?" "Yes."
I think I do. I'm Alar. Who are you? Take
Finch? Finch.
Finch.
Louis Finch.
Nice to meet you,
That's my
Mr.
name.
Finch.
Yes.
That's a no on the pie there, Mr. Finch.
Don't trust it. Don't trust anything. Not here. It's not safe.
You can believe in pie. Because this is Navirian pie.
No. The spider, the web, the deer. Do you understand?
Okay. What's in the room that you just came out of? And he points at the open door.
He looks, and kind of like holds up the potato
Oh.
in answer.
How long have you been here?
I don't know. It's you can't tell. It changes. Time. It doesn't make sense. The web, the deer, the spider. You understand? Do you understand?
Yeah. What month was it when you came to the house in the first place? You remember that?
I live here. I'm the groundskeeper. I was the groundskeeper.
Okay.
I tended the gardens.
What was the last day you remember before all this happened?
We pressed the cider.
Okay. Press the cider.
Fall.
So fall is now winter.
It's the beginning of winter.
So it has been on the order of months.
About.
When's the last time you showered, Louis?
He
Had a
begins
hot
to
meal- had a
be.
hot meal.
He seems to be as this like kind of conversation is stretching on. He seems to be. You're kind of losing him. He's losing his what little lucidity he seemed to have, and he is starting to nod as he's looking at you. He says, It's been only me that it's had. Different now, I think. Different. Yes. He says, "Do you understand? Tell me that you understand. It will be better. It will be better if you understand."
I think I understand, yeah.
Can you see us?
For now. Ooh. What's everybody's passive perceptions?
15.
Oh wait, we're not
Irrelevant.
rolling.
10.
11.
Whatever the default is.
16? I think Kels is like 17, isn't it? No?
12.
12. I don't know why I thought it was 17.
12.
12. So with the 15, as you guys are talking to him, Alar, you notice, like, it's getting a little brighter in here. And he seems to notice too. You see, like, his eyes go wide. And Alar, you have noticed the glow from the furnace has gotten brighter in the last, like, 15-20 seconds. And a few moments later, the rest of you hear this sort of, like, the kind of, like, deep groan of, like, you know, when a heating system turns on, rolls through these ducts, and he kind of, like, he looks and he says, "It has you now. It doesn't need me anymore." And he, like, drops his potato, and you kind of see this expression that almost looks like relief passes over his face. And he says to you, he says, "You have to understand. We are not the deer. The deer is food. The deer gets to die. We are the web." And as he says this, there is a ear-splitting groan of metal and stone and mortar. And behind him, you see the ventilation ducts dislodge from the ceiling. And one of them lashes forward almost faster than you're able to track, and just clamps around his midriff, and he is yanked backwards. Both of the doors of the furnace swing open, and you just see him pulled inside, and they slam shut, and there is like a roil of fire shoots out through these grates, and a big puff of smoke comes out of these, like, octopus-like tentacles that this thing has sprouted. And we're gonna roll initiative.
Hey. Well, I guess that's a definite no on the body.
Are you gonna try to feed the furnace pie?
I mean, setting it on fire is probably not going to go well.
8.
More power!
The good news is you will not be last.
Alar, we got
How did
5.
the road get worse? You should have a +5.
Brum?
I have a +3 and I rolled a 2.
You got 11.
Walter.
10.
10. Kel.
17.
17. I'm gonna roll for Ronnie. Ronnie also gets a 17. I don't know what her dex is.
Mine is 2.
It's probably.
She rolls a 17, which means her initiative is gonna be higher than yours.
Okay.
But
if
I'm
she's
gonna.
a barb, I can't imagine.
Her dex is at least a
less than
+2.
+2.
I'm just gonna put her behind you though, because I need a minute to find her character sheet. And the furnace rolls a 3.
Cool.
It does have a +2 dex, which would tie it with Alar, but I'm gonna put it behind Alar since it's a monster.
My dex is a little bit higher. So
Will that make it more powerful?
Yeah.
The furnace will go last. So, if you guys want, we can clear that and we can put some minis down. But it's just
20
one big furnace
Yep,
in the
it's
the side of the room.
20-foot square room, I imagine. Like,
Pretty much. You can just narrate at me what you want to do, and I'll follow
Anybody
it.
a couple of water spells?
Alrighty. So the first to act is in fact Kel.
I'm going to cast Frostbite.
Alrighty, casting Frostbite.
Constitution save, DC 14.
It rolls a natural 20, so it does save.
I'm going to step back out of the doorway.
All right,
And
so
break line of sight.
Back out of the doorway, out of its line of sight.
Ha!
You sort of like you throw your hand
Aha!
it like
Nope,
you can see you try to like freeze some of the moisture in the air, but it just seems to be like roiling off the cold that you try to gather. So Ronnie is next, and she is gonna step up to it. She'll actually get like she'll go up to one of the like. There's all these like vent duct arms waving around. She'll go up to one of those and take a shot at that. If I can get to my campaigns, we will grab Ronnie's. So she's going to take, I assume, 2 attacks at this level, right?
Yep.
She'll take 2 attacks. The first one is an 11 plus her... You know what I'm gonna do? Since to speed this up, I'm just gonna do flat rolls and flat damage for Ronnie, since we're gonna run her like an NPC.
Do you want one of us to pull up that sheet?
Can
we?
I don't know if you're gonna be able to. One of them definitely does hit. Oh, she's got a +7. I see it here. Okay.
So like, at our level, she should have probably like at minimum a +5 to hit.
Yeah, she's got a +7. So she actually will hit with both. So she's gonna deal 2d12.
A construct.
You can make an Arcana roll to see if you would assume that.
I don't know if any of my spells are gonna do anything.
So Ronnie does 15 points of damage with her great axe. But you see as she like cleaves into this thing, it definitely like nicks the metal, but just the sort of like the nature of her normal great axe attack doesn't seem to really cleave into the hard metal shell of this thing.
I have Ronnie's character sheet up if you just want to tell me what she does.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes it easier or not.
We'll figure it out. I mean, basically, I would say what we'll do going forward is like you guys can dictate what actions you want her to take, and then maybe I'll roll them, or we'll figure it out. But now it is Brom's turn.
Little pocket. You know you want to.
I'm gonna see if I know if it's a construct.
Okay, that doesn't cost you anything. You can just make that as a free action.
What kind of check you said that was for me?
That's going to be an Arcana check.
Oh, natural 20. Thank God.
You would assume that there's a good chance that that's what this is. As a like animated moving piece of like furniture, basically.
So
That's a decent bet.
That spells out. I'm not gonna heat the already heated metal. I'm gonna make it stronger. Alright, I'm gonna do 2 things.
Okay.
I'm going to cast Bardic Inspiration on Nula.
Alrighty. So Nula, you take a D6.
And I'm going to Vicious Mockery the...
Alright, it has to make a Wisdom save.
Yes.
Alright.
Nice.
Wouldn't you know it,
You just have it.
the animated furnace is not super...
Yeah, Wisdom saving throw.
not super strong on Wisdom. It still rolls a 19. So you're like, I hope you get rusty.
Why don't you cool off?
It seems unfazed by your taunts.
Alright, blew the nat 20.
Your sick japes are not enough to phase it.
Alright,
Which
I'm
brings us to
I'm
Walter.
out on this one, guys. Nothing.
Wait. I am going to cast Hex.
Alrighty, Hex.
And I'm going to give it disadvantage on Wisdom.
Okay.
That's only ability checks, though.
Okay.
We're gonna call it strength. We're gonna call it strength.
What's
ability.
1d8, by the way?
Strength.
Strength ability checks. Because it's not
1d8
saves. It's
Yep.
just
Inspiration.
so.
1d8. Do I have to use
So
it
that
next
is-
turn?
No, you have it for 10 minutes,
Yeah,
I think.
10 minutes.
You do have to, if you want to use it, make your roll. You do have to declare that you want to use that to add it before I tell you whether whatever you did succeeds or fails.
Okay.
If you're like, oh, I roll with this, and I'm like, no, not enough, you can't be like, oh, Bardic. You gotta tell me before. What else are you doing,
so
Walter?
it's
You hex it. So
bonus action hex, and then I'm gonna Eldritch Blast the 2 beams.
Okay, so the shadows cast by this thing shooting out these like waves of heat and light seem to sort of like swarm up around it and kind of cling to it a little bit as Walter puts his hex onto it, and then Eldritch Blasts fire out.
They are
Go ahead
two
and roll
beams.
to hit.
2 beams. That is a 21 and a 18.
Both will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
Alright. So it's gonna be hex is a 1d6 to target whenever I hit it with an attack, and there's 2 attacks. They are 2 beams.
Yes.
They're 2 separate rolls. It's just like a multi.
Yeah.
It's the only multi attack.
All right, so roll your
So it's gonna be
your stuff.
Yeah. 6 plus 6 plus 5 plus 2 is going to be 8 points of force damage and 11 points of necrotic damage.
Okay, nice. So you fire out these 2 eldritch blasts of energy, and they streak across the distance like weaving in between these waving, swinging ventilation ducts and slam into the body of this furnace for a pretty significant hit. You see there's like bright score marks on the metal where the eldritch blast struck it. Nula, you are up.
I'm going to cast Channel Divinity,
Alrighty.
Nature's Wrath.
Okie dokie.
As an action, you can cause spectral vines to spring up and reach for a creature within 10 feet.
Okay.
Must succeed on a strength or dex.
Strength or dex, I can pick.
Yes.
I guess I can pick.
13.
Well, it rolls a 14, and its strength is plus 5. So the vines kind of come up and begin to like try and wrap this, but you see it like heats up, and the vines like burn away and wither.
And like all
They're close
plants
to it.
that I found, it does.
Okay, it's just Channel Divinity in action. I don't. It is.
It is.
Okay. Anything else? Are you moving at all? I mean, at this point, you are like you're not in melee range of like the body of the furnace, so you don't have to. I just
Yeah,
before you
I'll
do.
just
Okay, hang out where you're at.
make sure that I'm like blocking. Well, you went around the
I
corner.
have line of sight.
Yep,
Okay.
he's out of the room.
You can't lose or no.
Alrighty. So Alar, you are up.
Pretty sure Rapier's not going to harm this thing at all, so I'm going to move to get slightly on the other side of it from Ronnie, and gets to make a wisdom save.
Alrighty.
DC 13.
That is a 6, flat 6.
Yay!
Is this Toll the Dead?
Yep.
Okay.
And it
It
takes
is damage, so your D12, your extra damage.
Yep. It takes 10 points of necrotic damage.
Okay. So you guys, Alar, kind of like swings around it and casts out this spell, and you guys like the furnace itself almost like rings like a gong. And you see that the tentacles kind of like thrash in pain as he strikes it with this spell, and it is its turn. It is going to take 2 attacks with these ventilation duct tentacles it has. One against Alar, Walter, and one against D20.
You have 2
And one against
you roll 2
Nula.
dice at that level.
Or one against Rodney and one against me.
No, one against Walter, one against you with these tentacles.
Can I
Oh,
protection Walter?
Apparently I rolled 2d12.
Oh, okay.
So, there we go.
To impose disadvantage? Sure, we'll say you're close enough for that.
13 in total.
Thank
Appropriate.
you.
So an additional 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, so the original attack against Walter would have been a 21. The new attack is a 12,
You're
which I
welcome.
do not think helps.
Thank you. As your shield like deflects the.
So this
metal
ventilation
tentacle
duct
arm.
like streaks
like,
towards you,
painful.
and you just like see the shoulder and arm of Nula come to the side and just like bats it aside with your shield. And the attack against you was a 3, so it's not going to get you. So the sort of your maneuver to protect Walter shifts you enough that the tentacle that was coming for you sort of just glances off your armor. It is going to make a.
Sugar.
He's going to make a third attack. Ronnie and Alar, since you guys had moved up on it, there is like a sharp intake of air through all of these ventilation ducts, and then a roil of flame fires out of the grating in a cone that is going to hit the two of you. So go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw. Mark is 15.
No.
Okay.
Surprisingly, no.
And Ronnie gets a 19, so Ronnie will make the save. She'll take half damage. So the damage for this is going to be... Uh, 11 points of fire damage. Okie dokie. So you will take 11, Ronnie will take 5.
Who's tracking around
I got it.
me? Okay.
Yep. Alrighty. That is going to be its turn, which brings us to the top of the order. So Kel, you see this like flash of brighter light as this thing fire breaths onto Alar and Ronnie, and you are outside the doorframe. What are you doing?
Step back in.
Ha!
Frostbite.
Frostbite. All right. Con, right?
DC 14.
It will. It saves again.
Step back out of the room.
Alrighty. Ha!
No.
Shit! Back around the hall. Alrighty. So Ronnie's up again. She's gonna. We're gonna have her. We're gonna have her rage.
She got cinched. That's a good reason.
She got burned up a little bit.
Dragons don't like to be burned.
She's going to make 2 attacks again.
Maybe you shouldn't dress that way.
One of them will hit. One of them will miss. So she deals 15 points of slashing damage. Although again, it is reduced as it doesn't seem to do quite as much as it's just like a normal attack. Okay. That is Ronnie's turn. Brom, you're up. What do you got?
Okay. I have 2 things I can do. One of them is relying that it's not too stupid. So I'm gonna go with the safer bet and cast Dissonant Whispers.
Okay. That is a
Wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving. What is what was the effect that it inflicts? Frightened?
The target must make a Wisdom saving throw. If failed, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction if able to move as far away from me. Creature doesn't move into obvious danger territory, so it just like really freaks out
Okay.
and moves away from me.
So it fails. Go ahead and roll your damage. It is already like
As far
against
away.
the back wall, so it can't actually go anywhere. But a number of the tendrils of ventilation that were near you like recoil a little bit away from you.
Double great. That was a 1 at first, it knocked it into a 2.
Snake eyes.
$13 points of damage. Psychic damage.
Okay.
Of course, I had to cast it. Do anything.
13, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one of the 2 things that work. Although I don't know if the other one's gonna work.
Alrighty. So this there's like this horrible like metal scraping noise as you deal this psychic damage to it with Dissonant Whispers, which brings us to Walter.
We're gonna do the same thing.
Alrighty, Eldritch Blast.
We're gonna utilize this utility spell as much as humanly possible. It's a 19, and it looks like a 6 plus 6 is 12.
The 19 will hit, the 12 will not.
Right. It would be some force. 1 force and 1 necrotic damage.
2 damage. Get on my calculator to see.
I know it's a big number.
Okie dokie.
Then I will step towards the back of the room if I'm not like, already against the back wall.
Okay. That brings us to Nula.
I'm going to run up and use
Alrighty.
my Warhammer.
Okie dokie.
And I'm going to use my extra special dice.
Bardic-
Okay.
It's a
Bardic
9.
inspiration. Yeah.
10.
Plus things.
Oh, wait. 17.
17 will not hit.
Will not hit?
Nope.
As you back past the door, I was just like, good job.
It's like I did damage.
So close, but not quite.
Oh! Wait, I have a second attack. Right?
Yes,
You do have a second attack.
No.
of course.
So I mean, it's not like it's dodging your blows. You're hitting it, but it's like a solid metal magical
And it's flailing
demon
around like
furnace.
one of those.
So like you imagine you really gotta catch it solidly to bust through this thing's natural armor. Alrighty. Anything else with your turn?
Cry.
Okay. Crying is a free action.
That's my job.
Crying is a free action.
So is
alrighty.
peeing pants.
Alar, you are up.
I'm going to disengage because I'm. And it gets to make another wisdom saving throw.
Okey-dokey. Which it fails.
All right.
More damage.
12 points
Must
of
not be a smart you.
necrotic damage.
What was my other spell? The only other spell I can use.
And that was
if it's
2d12s?
ability score is 4
Yeah,
or lower.
okay, cool.
10 and a 2.
That's
Alrighty. So again, in this furnace, and it like echoes out through these ventilation tendrils, and it is its turn. And what you guys see is at the top of its turn, the coal pile next to it shifts, and the coal begins to like crumble to the ground and like roll across the floor, and like feeds itself up into this furnace. And you see like a lot of the dings and nicks and scratches that you had made like pop back out as it recovers some of its damage by feeding coal out of this chute. And as like it takes some coal away, you see like more coal falls down out of the open flap of this door. And it recovers 17 points of damage.
Does it cost a reaction for my eyes to immediately light up inside that?
Cursing in Draconic.
Walter, I think I know a good use for your shovel.
Oh, I'm way ahead of you.
So it does this at the start of its turn, and then it is going to make 2 attacks again. One against Walter at the back of the room with one of his tendrils. You are not close enough anymore. You are close enough that you can protect Ronnie because you're up with
Okay.
Ronnie up here. It's going to make 1 against Walter, 1 against Brahm with its.
I was standing next to Nula, or did she move?
What?
I
She moved up.
Oh, okay.
She moved, yeah. So, Walter, that is a 19 plus something. So I'm assuming that's gonna hit.
It just
Just
barely
makes it.
scrapes
Just
on
makes
by.
it. Brahm, that is a 7. So that's not gonna get you. You like get out of the way as this ventilation duct just like slams into the ground where you were standing. But Walter, you are gonna take
146 damage.
7 bludgeoning damage and 10 poison damage.
Ooh, poison.
As this
And
poison,
pretty emotional.
as this ventilation duct like slams into you, you're just like struck by like a cloud of like coal dust and smog comes out of it and into your lungs, and you just are choking and coughing.
Flashback to the mines.
I was gonna say.
PTSD, like freaking character.
Walter gets the black lung immediately.
I did roll a 17 for my concentration save for X.
Cool.
So,
Okay, so that's more than enough. Actually, yeah, that's more than enough.
yeah, I think it's just a 5/10. I think. For
I was trying to think if I was going to have you make 2 rolls because it was like 2 pieces of damage, but it was 1 attack, so it's just the whatever the half the damage or 10, whatever's greater. So with a 17, you're fine. But it is going to use that third action to fire blast Nula and Ronnie as they are right up with it. So Nula and Ronnie both need to make dexterity saving throws. Target is 15.
Yeah.
Ronnie gets a... Actually, Ronnie has advantage on these. Her highest was a... she is going to fail. So she fails. What do you got?
8.
8. Okay, so both of you guys fail. You both take... 11 points of fire damage as it into you. And that is... actually, at this point, it is going to...
Go home.
Yep, it goes home. It says, you know what, guys? I've thought it over, and you seem like good folks.
We all played hard.
Just a good game, good sportsmanship all around. There's orange slices and
Can we
juice
do the
boxes.
high five?
Yep. You guys high five a row of ventilation tentacles. No, so actually, a number of these ventilation shafts like pull back, and they clamp into the wall and ceiling up behind it. And with this like shattering of the brick housing around it, this thing like climbs its way part of the way up the wall into like the back corner. So Nula and Ronnie, you guys will both get opportunity attacks as it like backs up away from you. Ronnie gets a 19, so she definitely hits.
14.
14 will not, but Ronnie will do some damage.
Is that a stone dice?
Ronnie does.
I was saying,
Jesus.
that is earned dice, Jim.
Ronnie does max damage. Ronnie does 19 points of damage. She just like cleaves into this thing as it backs away from her. She's like, ah! As she's raging. And that's the end of its turn, which brings us back to Kel.
Step back in.
All right.
Frostbite.
Constitution saving throw. Jesus Christ! It saves again.
Just kill yourself.
I've rolled a 19. I've rolled a 19
just like
every time I've had to make
Just
this
jump
throw.
right into his mouth at this point.
I'll stay in the room this time, I guess.
All right,
no,
Kel
no,
stays
no,
in the
no,
room.
no.
All right, Kel. Ronnie is up, so Ronnie is going to move.
All I can do is sponge damage then.
Ronnie's going to move forward and make
Just
2
hold it.
attacks. That is a 19 and a 14 plus whatever should be enough. She will hit twice. Oh, that's not great. It's a 1. That's a 7, so that's not bad. 8. She has 20 points of damage this time. She is just like going ham with this great axe onto this furnace. Brom, you're up.
I think words of terror might work on this thing. So I'm going to try words of terror. It says it can't. It's got to make another wisdom saving throw.
Just trying to channel maximum dad mode, just like curse out the heater to make it stop doing what you want it to do.
Oh, no. It's
Words
you speak
of
to a
terror. You
humanoid.
have to-
Never mind.
I think you also have to talk to them for like a minute.
Yeah, no, I got nothing.
I don't think you can do that one. Get the coal door.
Let me get the cold meat. I'm going to.
Stand by the cold door with an order reaction to do something.
Is the door that the coal is coming out of? Is it like just a shaft hole? Like what is it?
So it is on the back wall, and it is like it's like a metal flap set into the wall. That's like slightly ajar.
I heard the magic word.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna heat the metal.
Okay.
The coal flap.
You heat the metal, and yeah. So you guys see as Ayla, you're like, get the coal door. Brom's like, I understand exactly what you want me to do, and casts a hand
No,
out.
I'm talking about where the coal is coming from.
Yeah,
You can't see where the coal is coming from. It's like
You got door flaps.
it's like a door flap
You've
like
got
this.
a metal
So imagine
door.
like this set into the wall, and there's like coal spilling out of it, and it's got like a latch on it that you would like shut it and close the latch. So like you can heat the metal door if you want. I mean, if the effect you're going for is to like ignite the coal, there is a coal like in contact with that door.
Yes.
That's what you want to do. We'll see what happens.
Make the entire pile of coal.
Burn up the fuel.
So Brom does that.
Sets fires
The house explodes and you all die. Thank you for joining us. This has been Tabletop Legends. So actually, no, I like that. That's very creative. I will
Either that,
say.
or I'm trying to then heat it, and then when it cools off, it's melted to the wall and nothing can come through.
No, what I'll
Do
say,
it
I like
for both.
Okay, okay. No, I like that. That's creative. So
I have to come up with something.
You
None
do
of my
that.
spells work.
You heat the metal, and the door glows like cherry red, and you see the coals light up, and like whoosh, a whoosh of fire goes from the down along up to the front of the furnace, and you kind of hear it like roil back up this shaft. And we'll say you just ignite the coals. And
I like to think that it jump cuts to outside, and then you just see a hole in the ground, just like a little, just like the little tiny puff of smoke.
Somebody's delivering goods. They're like,
there's like an old prospector on like a porta-john with the half moon door, and he's just like launched into
He
space.
explodes into fireworks. All the time people were like, "Oh!"
as they're doing their pumpkin spice latte, now available at Constellation
And
Lamp.
Stinky Pete is
That's
dead.
right. Stinky Pete is like flies away.
They Team Rocket
Yeah, little star
of
appears.
existence.
So no, I will say that does it. That achieves the same effect as having run up there and shut that cold door was. You cut off its ability to heal itself.
The room is also on fire.
Everything's on fire. It was pretty
Pretty
hot.
on fire to
It was
begin
very
with.
hot and on fire in here before, so it didn't really get much worse.
I was gonna molder if you just couldn't change.
Anything else with your turn?
No, I'll save my bardic inspirations for
Alrighty.
next horrible monster that we have to fight.
Walter, what are you doing?
I'm just gonna be mouth agape, just watching this entire scene unfold. It's so Eldritch Blast, just go for the. Oh, thank God! I thought they were both ones. Well, it's a 12 and a 7. So
No, neither of those will be enough. The others blast sort of ping off of its metallic carapace.
I'm so stunned by just me falling out, just. Bleh.
Newland, you're up. So it's climbing up the wall, but it's not a very tall room, so it's now head level with you, but still easily within range of your attack.
I'm going to use my Warhammer.
Alrighty, roll to hit.
14.
Nope, not quite gonna do it.
And for my second attack,
Oh boy.
13.
that was a 13.
Nula's got the Osrius dice tonight. Alrighty, so that's Nula's turn.
Do better.
Alar, what do you got?
After I close my jaw and just go, and cast on the day.
Roll the dead. And it fails again. Roll your damage.
17 points of necrotic damage.
Nice. Jesus. Alright. So as this goes, you see like a bunch of like coal dust and like metal bits like come like rattling out of it. And it is now starting to look like you guys are like putting some work in on this thing.
Some of us.
Some of us. Which does bring us to its turn, and in fact, it is not able to heal itself this round as the coal supply has been shut off.
There was no way I thought that was going to work. You said this. You said the magic word of metal.
This is yes and Dungeons and Dragons. If you come up with it, I'll tell you how it happens. Okay, so it is its turn. It is going to make two attacks. One against Brahm, one against Alar at this point. Didn't seem to consider Kel much of a threat, I guess.
Can't imagine
Am I
why.
close enough to protection anymore?
You are just Ronnie still.
Okay.
So Walter, that's a 2. That's a
Alar?
7.
Alar or
Walter.
That was Ayla. I thought it was
Yeah, it was
Dagny.
I thought it was
Brahm.
two of you. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I ignored you this time.
I was saying, I didn't
Brahm,
do anything to it, so I was like,
Brahm, or Alar, that's a 7.
Okay.
Brahm, that is a 20.
You deprived it of its food.
Yeah, but at first when he was going to say me with the 7.
Yeah.
22. I'm sorry.
Oh!
I want to be clear.
It was just squeaking by with the 20, but now you said 22.
So you are going to take 12 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are going to take 4 points of poison damage.
Ooh.
It wails one of these metal arms into you. And then it is going to furnace blast into Nula and Ronnie, so dex saves from you guys. Ronnie crit succeeds on hers, so she's okay. She'll take half damage.
6.
And you fail again. 8 points of fire damage.
Swear to God, if Ronnie's the only one who lives.
Ronnie will take 4. Ronnie will take 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And that is the end of its turn. Kel! I believe in you, buddy. You got this.
Frostbite.
Frostbite! What's your
14.
I'll say, no. It gets a 15. So close. I was like, oh, I rolled low this time.
I wasn't fully committed to that.
Oh, no.
Wish we had a big picturesque window behind. You could see me get my car and leave.
Sad music
goodness.
from the Incredible Hulk playing.
Alright. Ronnie is up. She will take 2 swings. Both of those will hit. Of course, that is going to be 6.
how many 19s are on that dice? Just out of curiosity.
19 of them.
Oh, it's weird. This is my.
This is my only almost crit dice.
This is my D19. It's only 19s.
All 19s all the time.
That's 21 points of damage from Ronnie. I lost my pencil.
God for Ronnie.
Thank God for Ronnie, indeed. Okay.
I am buying her all the ingredients she wants.
Brahm,
If you live.
If I
you're up.
Kind of blew my load on that last turn. I'm gonna Vicious Mockery.
Okay.
Because I can't do anything else at this point.
It succeeds. It gets a 17. Come on! It's a gigantic furnace! Can't you insult the gigantic furnace?
No! Obviously, I can't!
Alrighty, Walter.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm thinking. Yeah. I'll take 14 and a 22.
22 will hit. Roll damage.
Adventure. 1 point of force
All right,
damage.
Walter just yells "Adventure!" and then like lightning caresses it with an Eldritch Blast.
And then 5 points of necrotic. So it took 6 total
Okay,
damage.
all right, 6 damage.
1 force.
Nula. This side of the table is not having a good night, except for the invisible Ronnie.
19?
A 19 will hit.
This one will not.
Wait, is it 19? 3 plus 7, is it?
Yeah, I rolled 2 attacks. Yeah. That one didn't do anything.
All right, that will definitely hit.
1d8 plus 4. 6.
6 points of damage. So similar to Ronnie's attacks, as you're like cleaving into it, it doesn't seem to have quite the impact that you would expect. But you definitely like
all my hits.
you definitely like ding a dent into the side of it as you like whap into it. Ayla.
Wisdom save 13.
Wisdom save 13. It fails.
Okay.
Just barely fails.
Let's see, what is that? 11 points of necrotic damage.
Alrighty. So shakes again, and like 3 or 4 of the ventilation shafts kind of like tremble and just go limp onto the ground, and it like kind of comes most of the way back down the wall, but it is still hanging in there. Which makes it its turn. So it's going to take an attack with its ventilation ducts, one at Alar and one at... who hit it last turn? Walter.
Me.
You, but you're in range for it to breath weapon. Against Alar, that is a 13, so I don't think that's going to quite make it. And Walter definitely gets hit. So Walter, you take 7 points of bludgeoning and 2 points of poison.
Is it 7 and 2?
7 bludgeoning, 2 poison. Yep.
Hooray!
Wasn't it's not swinging with quite the power that it was a minute or two ago. As you guys start to like bash into it. And then it is going to breath weapon Ronnie and Nula again, so dex saves from both of you guys. Ronnie fails this time. She'll take full damage.
7.
So that will also fail. So you guys are both going to take... seven points of fire damage. Okie dokie. That's the end of its turn. Kel. I'll just roll the save. It fails! It fails!
Oh, God! Kill it!
Gets a 4!
6 points of cold damage.
6 points of
Disadvantage
cold
on sixth
damage.
attack.
Disadvantage.
Take that.
So you're like, Gah! And as it's like, it's been cut off from its fuel supply, it's been like battered, the embers are starting to dim a little bit, like finally you're able to overpower the heat just like radiating off of this thing, and like you see like frost begins to appear on a lot of the ducts and like around the base of it. One of the furnace doors, one of the hinges like frosts over and breaks, and is like slightly ajar at this point. And anything else?
Nope.
Okay. So Ronnie will take 2 attack. Ooh, whoop. Ronnie will take 2 attacks. 2 10s, which I think is not enough. No, so she will not hit. She only has a +7 to hit, I say.
Even with raging, she doesn't get another bonus to her.
No, that's
It
it.
does damage if she. It does extra damage if she hits. So no, she will miss, which will bring us up to Brahm.
So, here's a logistical question. If I throw a dagger, does it have to stick into it to use psychic blades, or do you just have to hit
It's
it?
supposed to hit it, I think.
Okay. So I'm going to throw a dagger.
All right, you throw a dagger. Roll the hit.
It's not gonna be great. 8.
No.
Bink!
So you like.
Right.
Nope.
question didn't matter anyway.
Big miss. Walter, you're up.
I'm sorry. I just imagine this like 8-foot tall orc, just like clearly out of options, just like
After
rings
that,
a dagger
after that
like
didn't work, after that
as a
didn't work,
Hail Mary.
I am gonna try and vicious mockery. It's a bonus action.
Vicious Mockery's a bonus action?
Yeah.
Okay. It will crit on its save.
All right. So I'm just gonna.
You're not even at this point. You don't even know if it has ears, if it can hear, because you're just flinging insults and it doesn't even notice.
The dagger tumbles to the ground and we all just pause and look at it for a second.
Does that mean like
The furnace is like.
it's one little hinged eye flap is just like.
Walter, what do you got?
All right.
Eldritch Blast.
Oh yeah, that's double Eldritch Blast.
Double Eldritch Blast.
It is definitely both. It's 18 and 16 without the
Oh yeah,
plus 6
for sure hits.
Yeah, all the buttons. 9 plus 9. 9 force and 8 necrotic.
Okay,
That's 17 total points of various damage.
Walter.
I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna try to hit it right where his knife hit.
Okay.
Just where, like the same wing it is like wouldn't help.
Here's what we'll say. So, Brahm, you throw your dagger, and, like, it's very apparent to everybody that, like, this was not a good throw. And Walter, like, follows it up. He's like the Robin Hood of Eldritch Blasts. He just, like, lances these 2 beams. The first beam hits the dagger and, like, course corrects it. And then the second beam hits it straight in the pommel and just drives the dagger into the furnace. And there is a... And Walter, as you strike the final blow, you guys see the furnace lifts itself to its full height. These long ventilation shafts, the ones that are still working anyway, like go rigid. And its body begins to shake and it rattles, and there is a deep rumbling running through the house and the ventilation shaft. And it just echoes like down through this chamber. And there are these orange fissures beginning to form.
Get out.
From where your dagger hit. And the cast iron body is growing brighter and brighter in intensity. This web work just spreading out over the entire surface. And then with a great howling of heat and smoke, the furnace shudders and explodes. And fire and smoke and shards of metal and burning coal are flying towards you. One moment, this wall of deadly projectiles are, like, rushing at you guys, and the next, nothing. The room is dark again. The air has cooled off. Instantly, like, the sweat on your faces begins to chill. And you kind of, like, open your eyes as you guys were, like, end of Toy Story 3, like, holding hands, like, oh, God! And you see, the furnace. Perfectly ordinary, unassuming, just sitting in its position against the wall. And on the floor in front of the furnace, you see an oddly shaped, vaguely luminescent nodule of this sort of like pinkish organic matter. And we're out of combat, by the way.
I'm going to very carefully, Scooter peeking out from behind me, lean in and look at it. Does it? It looks. Does it look like flesh?
This like nodule. It's like it's about 5-6 feet in length, maybe 2-3 feet high, kind of like ovoid shaped. It doesn't necessarily look like flesh so much as it does look organic in nature. It's sort of like a almost something you would expect like an insect to secrete. It's got that sort of like slightly like crispy, slightly gushy web work of like
Yummy.
gunk. And it is, as I said, it's like pink and it's like very slightly illuminated.
Not blue, obviously.
Sort of.
Like an egg sac or a chrysalis?
Sort of, yeah, sort of like a chrysalis.
I walk around it to go to the furnace and kick the furnace.
Okay, you kick the furnace. You hurt your foot a little bit.
Take that, you bitch.
I'm going to...
Walter,
Yes.
use your specialize.
Yes.
thank you.
Alright.
Yeah.
Walter, my brand! And you look. Make an Arcana check with your special eyes.
That's a no, right?
It's an 8.
And then you
So
remember you had the D20.
I rolled it,
do
I was
see-
like looking at it, I was like, oh no.
The room, there is sort of like a haze of a fading energy, but you don't know that you would necessarily call it magic, like a magical aura. It's certainly not of a kind that you recognize from like your knowledge of various schools of magic, but there's something in the air here, and very concentrated around the furnace and around this lump.
How big is the lump?
That's about 5-6 feet long and about
Gotcha.
like 3 feet ish high.
You guys want to like cut it open?
Yeah. ALR's already next to it with a dagger, like, yeah.
Okay. So
Mage hand can do that in life.
I have my warhammer over it, like ready to
Alright.
squish it.
Are you feeling okay?
I'm
Yeah,
not feeling great.
you and Ronnie probably might want
Not
to.
doing great.
Yeah, I'm a little singed, but I'm in decent shape.
Ronnie is like, I mean, I'm okay for now.
Okay.
If it gets bad later, I'll let you know.
Okay. Then you two.
On a scale of like 1 to 40, I'm like a 14.
Okay.
Oh,
You three.
Ronnie's a
definitely
34 on a scale of 1 to 50, so she's
20
doing
out
all
of
right.
38.
All right, so you're daggering open this.
Yep.
Stuff.
Very carefully, and if I, first sink it in carefully, and then slowly.
Let's call this a medicine check as you are trying to surgery this thing.
Can I cure wounds?
No, I'm not a willing creature. Yes, please. For the love of God. For the love of the gods.
And then I will. And that's at second level. So
That
that's
is a
2d8
17 on
plus
my
2.
medicine
Yeah,
check.
you're still rolling it. Your spell.
Oh.
Yeah, you rolled the heals for that. I'll let her resolve her healing, and
Okay.
I'll tell you what happens with the as you cut this open.
7 for you.
5 plus 7. I will take 7 points.
2d8.
Plus your.
Two.
Okay.
And I will cure wounds myself, but at first.
It's not plus spellcasting modifier. I always think it is.
It is, but her
It is.
charisma modifier is probably plus 2.
So I get 7 back myself.
Okay.
If only she could cast with strength.
Do you need more than that?
I'm at half health. I'll be fine, probably. I'm a caster. I can just like hide in the back.
Do you want me to, like, 5 points lay on hands?
You have 25 points of lay on hands.
Do you want 10 points of lay on hands?
It is very important for you not to be unconscious, because then you can no longer use lay on hands.
Yes, you are our only healer.
You should heal yourself first. And don't worry about. I'll be fine. This is enough.
We can take short rests at some point. Like there are options that do
Alright,
not
I
involve
will-
you. You need to not be unconscious.
Yes.
I will do
You should
10.
10
hug yourself.
points.
Hug yourself until
All right,
you feel
so
all the way better.
you channel the divinity of Helm through your body, and close up some of your burns, and you feel a little better. Meanwhile, Alar is trying to surgery open this chrysalis thing, and what you discover inside as you open it up is the unconscious but alive form of the gardener. You did, like, you kind of, like, nicked his cheek with your knife a little bit as you were, like, trying to look for him, like, get through there. But it's a very, very shallow, superficial cut. And he's just, like, in this gunk. And he just is, he seems unconscious, but he seems otherwise uninjured.
As soon as I realize he's breathing, I set the knife aside and I start tearing it open.
Now, takes you a couple of minutes. It's a little messy, but you do manage to, like, haul him out.
I will prestidigitation him clean.
Clean him up.
Please.
Fine. I will also get all of the smashed pie off of myself.
Okay. So everybody is clean and prestidigitationed, and you have the unconscious form of the gardener, or the groundskeeper, Mr. Lewis Finch, kind of chilling here.
Cool, meat shield. Literally.
Was that an illusion?
Well,
Because a burn definitely felt real.
You definitely, like I said, like, it was definitely not of a nature that you recognized when you checked it out.
Yeah,
So, like, you
fine.
feel like if it was, like, hardcore illusion magic, you would have been able to tell.
yeah, no, it's my shiny eyes are not.
Well, he was talking about the furnace itself.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
Oh,
We clearly experienced the same event.
Could just be a communal hallucination.
There's a gas leak in the house. As well.
This is why.
which I would have killed us all.
It's a mushroom cloud in the distance. Yeah, so I'm going to, since I have no idea, I'm going to start shoveling the goo into the furnace.
Doesn't smell great, but nothing
Walter,
like happens.
Walter, stop doing what you're doing.
Just.
Do you want to keep a sample?
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, just to give to the folks at the Arcane Eye if we get out of this alive.
You can finish shoveling the rest of it. I'll set it on fire.
That was the plan.
Yep.
I was gonna shovel it in the furnace and burn it.
You and me
You're
are
going
on
to
the same
shovel it
page.
in the furnace.
And then we're going to set
Like
it
the
on fire.
furnace that
Yes.
tried to kill us.
Yes.
Which could possibly rejuvenate the furnace and make it try to kill us again.
Look, but it's gonna have this nasty goo in its mouth, and it gets what it deserves. It's fine.
Look. I feel like at this point it's very clear that if the house wants us dead, it can do it at literally any moment and does not need our help. I'm not worried about it.
Well, as our lovely friend the gardener said, the house is trying to wear us out.
No, we're the webs. He was very clear about
You
that.
are the web. You are not the deer. Whatever that means.
Wait,
I mean, I know what it means because I wrote it, but you
find
don't.
the deer.
No, we find the way out.
Or we find the spider.
Maybe we don't do that part.
I think we're probably going to have to confront the spider if we're going to get out of this alive.
We just need to not find the deer.
do spiders inject their eggs into their food?
Not their
It's
food.
like wasps, I think.
Some of them do not.
I need to make a nature check for that.
I'm just looking at the
No, and you also get the impression that he was speaking in like extremely heavy crazy person metaphor, so it's probably not like a literal spider.
Yeah, I
As
get
we
that.
look at the chrysalis.
It's chrysalisy, but it is not like it's clearly not like insectoid in origin. It's like a weird, like otherworldly organic.
Well, we did
goo.
meet Slappy the puppet, or whatever that guy was.
You met Slappy the puppet.
He's canonically named Slappy.
I'm going to, at this point, I'm going to peek into the room that Jen came out of. Is it just full of potatoes?
No, it is like the larder. So
Okay.
there's like food stores in there. There's potatoes. There's other stuff. It does look like as he was going in here, he's just like he has not paid much mind to like keeping it tidy. So there's like shit is just knocked all over the floors.
Take the potato out of everything in here.
What are we going to do with Lewis?
And
Is he the deer?
No, he said we are not the food, himself included.
Yeah, but is he the food?
He said we, and I took that to mean all of us, including him.
he also has been here for quite a while, and remember what Slappy the
He was
puppet...
not in a
I
chrysalis.
can't
when he
believe
said
that I
we-
actually said that. Remember what that thing up there said? I think it's feeding off maybe not us, our life force, but it might be feeding off something from us.
Our sanity?
Sanity, fear.
He did say that the food gets the dye, and he's pretty not dead right now.
He's not dead.
I don't think we found it.
You shovel the stuff. It
Yeah.
burns up. There's no problem with that. It doesn't seem to do anything.
Okay.
As a fireman carry,
Okay. I'm
So
going
you're gonna
to
take him with you.
right? Yeah.
I think we should leave him here.
Alright, I leave him in the potato room.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I'm gonna check the other
Can we
door.
lock the door?
The
Does it
other,
matter?
If there are other people around, maybe.
there's not really like a lock.
Can we break the door?
The
We're certainly
you
good
could,
at
but that would make it less effective at keeping people out.
Can we break it shut? I don't know.
Break it shut. That's the title of the episode.
Break it shut.
Break it shut.
So the other door that was on that wall turns out to be a wine cellar.
Sweet.
A bunch
I
of wine in
let's
there.
I
get
grab.
drunk!
I just grab a bottle.
I think we probably need you more alert than. Okay.
I'm totally doing the Archer thing.
So we all agree that he doesn't get to make decisions anymore, right?
I
He
hand
may
you
be-
the half-drunk
He
bottle.
may be
There
the
you go.
only one allowed to make decisions.
Is there any root beer in there?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Ready to go on. Ooh, wait a minute.
The house is attacking again.
Oh, that's a nice vintage. Hey, see? That's a nice vintage, isn't it?
Yeah. So
There you go. Enjoy.
that was terrifying.
All right.
So there was one wine cellar,
One larder.
one.
And then the other door on the other side of the room, which I will just tell you as you guys look, it is a staircase that leads up
Well,
out of the basement.
look on the bright side. We didn't have to fight a potato monster going in the other room.
Should we check the doors in the other room before we go upstairs?
Yes.
Do you want to clear out the basement first? And
So we'll handle that the same way we did before. Just make a group investigation roll. I'll tell you what you find throughout the basement.
22.
Okay.
11.
18.
I'm never gonna die.
24.
Okay. So the short version is you find nothing of interest.
Cool.
There is basement stuff in the rest of the basement, but as you guys check the other rooms, there's like
Ham crickets.
sure.
Some
some
basement stuff,
bugs,
basement
some
basement stuff, yeah.
there's like some like gardening implements, things that would be in a basement, but nothing
Found
of
some
like
skis.
particular interest.
Christmas decorations are in here.
Christmas decorations. The only way
There's
out
a
of the
tent- there's
basement
a
that
tent
you
they
can
bought
find.
once and used for one
That's
camping
right.
trip.
That's right. There's a Bowflex that they've never used down there.
It's now a clothing. It's where they hang clothes.
So it looks like the only way out is up.
Right, you do not find another exit to the basement except for that staircase up.
Okay.
I'm gonna kick the heater away as well.
You kick the heater. You hurt your foot a little too. All right.
I'm gonna flip it off.
You flip it off. You hurt its feelings.
Finally!
All right.
Scratching the door is like.
So you guys begin heading up the stairs towards the main floor. At the top of the steps, you see that there is a little bit of like kind of like orangey sunlight coming from beneath the door, and it just looks like a normal door.
Of course, it looks like a front door. I'm going to use Mage Hand to try and turn the.
You go. It does appear to be locked.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Of course it is.
Hello.
I call Mage Hand back. Place a couple lockpicks in
Lockpicks.
hand.
Send it back.
Yep.
So, as the mage hand, go ahead, yeah, you gotta roll your deal
Not
here.
this attempt. That's only
well,
a 10.
Turns out you're only gonna get the one, because what happens is, as the mage hand floats over to the door and begins, like, picking the lock, you watch as, like, the mage hand holding the lock picks is, like, grabbed by another hand.
Oh no!
As the hand like pulls your lockpicks out of it and then begins to like protrude more and more. And what'd you call him? Slappy the puppet?
Slappy the puppet.
Slappy the puppet like out of the door. And he looks at you again, and he begins speaking again. The mouth of this individual is not moving. It's just like a voice is emanating from him. And he's kind of looking at you, and you hear the voice say, "Good. Good.
Not
You are formidable. You will provide excellently. But there are, I think, so many of you in one place. Better to cast a wider net, I think."
Can I pick up Cal?
Sure.
I thought you had Lewis.
No, she put him in the
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm
cellar.
doing.
Right.
I
So,
pick up Cal.
Break the door
just
closed.
remember that Slappy was the name of the puppet from Goosebumps, so we should probably refrain from that.
And he and he says, "Yes, spread a wider net, as it were." And he like melds back into the door. And I think that's where we're gonna take our break for tonight, because the next part of this session I want to do all in one shot. So we're gonna take about a 5-minute break, let everybody get some water, use the bathroom, and we will be right back. Stick with us and enjoy our sweet mid-roll ads. Bye. Alrighty, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us as everybody got a little bit of a stretch to their legs and an emptying of their bladders. I probably should not talk about our bladders every single week when we come back from break. So we left you guys off as the creepy doorman who has been speaking to you. Basically told you that he doesn't like you guys all in one place.
I'm holding Kel.
You grab onto
style.
Kel as he says this, and he melds back into the doorway. The stairs beneath your guys' feet seem to start multiplying and branching off in this fractal kaleidoscopic divergence. So think of Doctor Strange. The whole stairwell just goes Inception style. Make a strength check to see if you can keep hold of Kel as you guys are so unfortunately you're kind of grabbing Kel, but the two sets of steps that you guys are on are apart from each other. And all of a sudden you guys find yourself in this bizarre space where you're climbing half a dozen different sets of steps, and they're all going in different directions and different orientations. And Kel, you look to your left and you see Alar is running up a set of steps going in the opposite direction of you. And Brahm, you lean over the edge of the staircase exactly as the same time as Ronnie leans over, and you guys are looking at each other as she is standing on the underside of your set of steps. And Walter, you run up, you reach a landing, and as you come up the steps and get to this landing, you immediately fall over. As you crest the top step, gravity just changes, and what was the landing on the floor is now the wall as you collapse into the new floor at another set of steps. And everything is just moving in these impossible directions, and the space around you seems to have become this endless three-dimensional expanse of staircases. And you've all been separated from one another. And to make matters worse, all of these staircases are just moving escalator style at different speeds, so that you can't actually stand still anywhere. So you are essentially in an MC Escher staircase situation right now, in case that was not clear. So what are you guys doing?
I would like to request that the architect come to my home for the mother-in-law suite. I'm gonna fire off an Eldritch Blast and just
What else does he do?
Spells.
just wherever I can, just trying to figure out if there's anywhere they end.
Okay, so you shoot off an Eldritch Blast. It goes a little ways, and it just cracks into one of the other staircases nearby you. It's a pretty cluttered space.
So it's just, I guess if I don't. I'm just gonna run. I'm just gonna sprint.
You start running,
I'm just
okay.
sprint through.
So Walter's just booking it.
Terminator run.
I'm going to see if I can do a quick spatial calculation. If I can make a running leap toward one of the other staircases and one of the others is on.
Sure. Make an. I guess let's make that an investigation check as you try to like really discern your surroundings.
24.
Yeah. So I mean, you're pretty sure that you could like leap from staircase to staircase as you were, kind of trying to move through this space. And even if you like fell, it's so like clustered and kaleidoscopic. It's not like you would like miss a staircase and fall forever. You'd probably just like hit a different staircase. You do also notice as you're kind of like looking around, taking in your surroundings, you see doors, and they like as like staircases come out of other staircases, you'll see like a landing with a door on it, and it'll like shift inside another staircase and disappear. And there's a number of these doors, like kind of like appearing and disappearing as the space changes. But you do locate that even though like you seem to be like it's just like stairs as far as the eye can see. It's stairs all the way down, guys. There are doors. They are not. Doesn't seem to be a set number of doors. They don't seem to be in a set place or any particular pattern. But they're around.
Okay. What I'm aiming for is trying to jump on a staircase with one of the others.
Okay. Who do you want to jump to?
Crap. Yeah. Random. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, I roll 6.
He jumps to a staircase out of the extra-dimensional space, and he lands on a staircase with me, the Dungeon Master.
Brahm.
All right. Make a dexterity check. Or acrobatics if you want.
No, I rolled a 1.
All right, so you kind of like leap, and as you jump, you see like you're heading for Brahm's like staircase, and as like mid-leap, Brahm's staircase like separates into like 6 staircases stacking up, and you just like crack into one of them and fall backwards. And Nula, he lands like on a staircase in front of you as you guys are like hurtling up towards a landing, as the staircase that you're on right now is like very fast.
Can I run ahead and grab him?
Sure, make a strength check. I guess you can call it athletics if you want to like grab him.
I
scoop
like
him up.
athletics.
Yeah, I figured you might.
Roll for yoink.
23.
23. Okay. So you get a hold of him and you begin to run ahead. You kind of have him. You're just running up some steps.
Hi, Nula.
Hi. What do we do?
Try and get him back to the others. That way. Jump.
I jump.
You're gonna make this check with disadvantage because you're carrying Alar.
Alright.
You're both dead.
14, 17, and then what am I adding to it?
The first one was a 14.
Yep.
Plus things. She has
Plus
an
your, let's call it I guess we'll call it an athletics check again.
Yeah, let's do 21.
Okay. So you successfully, you're not able to get to anybody at this point as you guys are starting to like get a little further apart. But you do successfully like leap off of the elevator that you guys were on and get onto like a slower moving one. Where you figure you could probably like set Alar back on his feet at this point if you wanted to. Alright, so where the rest of you guys, at this point I will say like probably you guys have all caught on to the fact that there's like doors appearing and disappearing throughout this space at this point.
Can I see anybody else? Or can I see everybody?
Yeah, I mean, like, one way or another, like, it might be like, Walter might, like, run past in a different direction, and then, like, you might see, like, Nula and Alar, like, swing by on a staircase. Everybody's kind of, like, in disparate places around this
Is
room.
anybody close enough to also make the leap of faith too?
I'll say Walter is probably close enough for you to jump to.
Try and jump to Walter. athletics check.
Yeah.
Natural 20.
Okay.
Plus 1. So.
Thank
God.
So Brahm like jumps
In slow-mos and
in
it's like
slow motion, and like doves come out from behind him as he like over this space and lands onto the staircase with you, Walter. And you guys see you are about a half a flight of steps down from a landing that, for the moment, has a door on.
I pull out Plan A. I like hand it reach out to him so he can grab the other hand.
Okay, I mean, you guys are like together on the staircase.
Yes, but like
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
just gonna grab the loop.
All right,
The loop
so like you hold onto the crowbar together. All right.
I guess you're gonna
Head
book
towards
it,
the
book it
door.
towards the door.
All right.
The best.
this is
Uh,
so
make
don't get
a-
separated crowbar.
Make a dexterity check.
Come on,
You can make them at like advantage to represent doing it together if you want.
Nice.
Maybe we'll let Brahm make the check.
You shouldn't have. No, he rolled way better.
Oh, okay. What'd you get?
A nat 20 and a 16.
Oh,
I
well,
got
you're
a
fine.
I got a
You're
7
making a
and a
face like
12.
you rolled a 3.
No, because I'm mad because I can't roll for shit with this dice.
Well, no,
except for
it's
doing random
good
nonsense.
because with that nat 20, you guys managed to get to the top of the steps and you managed to like bust your way through the door and out of this space. So you guys have navigated my stairs puzzle. You guys are out.
Cool.
That leaves us with Kel, Alar, Nula, and Ronnie left in the.
Before
In the
I put
staircase.
Alar down,
Okay.
can I Misty Step carrying Alar?
No.
Yep, Misty
You
Step?
can Misty Step?
I Misty Step.
This is news.
23 episodes. Nobody knew she could Misty
News
Step.
to everyone. Did she know she could Misty Step?
I looked
We only
to,
let her use her spells to heal people.
yeah, I looked to heal. I was like, oh look.
And to be fair,
So let's say
So
at
she
this
didn't
point,
know.
at this point, as you and Kel are together, you can see, you and Alar are together. You can see Kel is like within Misty stepping range from where you are, and we'll have Ronnie. Ronnie leaps. You see her like similar like Brahm. She's like on the same set of stairs as you guys are, only underneath it. She just like comes around and like grabs the top and then just like swings herself up onto your steps, so that she is with the two. So the three of you are now together, and Kel is like a little up and to your left, but like you guys are, you can see you're like starting to drift apart. So like he's within Misty Step range, but like you'd have to go now.
I Misty Step to go grab Kel.
All right, you Misty Step to Kel. Poof.
Alar?
Well, Alar is with Ronnie
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
What the hell did you? What the? How long have you been able to do that?
She was also carrying him, so he was just like landing on his ass.
I guess she didn't narrate that she
Say
just.
she put him down.
Well, actually, what she said was, before I put Alar down, can I Misty Step with him?
Yep.
And then did not follow up and just did
no.
it.
Yeah.
Can I drop him into
Ronnie's
Ronnie's
holding
arms?
arms.
No, you drop him
On his ass.
at Ronnie's feet, and she's just like,
Thanks.
oh, and
I don't even notice that I've been plopped on the floor. I'm just.
how long have you been able to do that?
I don't
For the
know.
record, Kel has been sitting on his escalator, not having anything to do with this Escher.
So you just
Scooby-Doo
like
chase.
go up and then it like.
He's just sitting there like
He's like an angry statue, just like going up the stairs for no
He's just
reason.
standing there like
It's
humming
the
to himself.
Scooby-Doo chase. Someone only just like stops in the middle of the hallway and like points at someone and then just runs to another door.
I
And
think
just, like,
it cuts
sat
to
in
Cal and
bed.
he's just standing there like listening to elevator music. Like,
All right, so we'll see what happens at this point. Ronnie and Alar are so you're on the steps and you see like 2 flights of steps down, and like across a gap there is a door rises up, and Ronnie's like, "Door, let's go!"
Yeah. All right.
So go ahead and both of you can make an athletics check. You can make an acrobatics if you want to be fancy, if that's better for you.
That would probably be
Do a
better.
front flip.
She does pretty good.
Do a flip. From flipper style.
Sure, I do a flip and
Okay,
manage to plant
Alar
the landing.
does a flip.
10.
The puppet man like
9.5.
comes out of a wall somewhere and just like holds up a sign that says 8.5. Oh come on!
And then Walter Alar shows pulls up his pant leg a little bit, and then it's like 10.
So you and Ronnie barrel through another doorway. It shuts behind you. You have escaped the stairs. So Kel and Nula, you guys are together on the staircase. What are you doing? Kel has insisted that he is obstinately sitting on the stairs. Nula, what are you taking charge of this situation
I
doing?
pick him up.
All right, you pick Kel up. Make an investigation. Make an investigation check.
Nat 20.
Okay. With that, you know what? With that roll, you're okay, a door, and then the staircase splits off, and there's just a door on it. You're like, oh, and you just walk through it.
You really gotta stop doing this. It's very undignified.
Are you like a cat? just scruffing ale or scruffing kelp.
It's got him by the underwear. Let's go, nerd!
Alrighty, so.
Oh, you're still wearing a little sailor overalls?
Those are wholly inappropriate for this.
Okay,
It was
so
appropriate for all time.
let's see what happens. You guys have gone through these doorways. Brom and Walter. You guys pass through the door, and it slams shut behind you. The chaos of the kaleidoscopic staircase is immediately just sealed off behind you as you make the transition from that surreal, mind-bending space into just a totally normal room. You find yourself standing in the music room, which you had seen from the your jazz fingers, your rings. You find yourself standing in the music room, which you had seen while you were looking through the windows outside earlier when you were investigating the house. And it looks exactly like it did when you were looking out from the outside. It has, at this point, late afternoon sun flooding in through the windows, casting the room in this warm orange glow and these elongated shadows across the floor. And you can see right out the windows to the grounds outside. They look perfectly normal. The only really notable thing is that late afternoon sun, as it was slightly before midday when you guys entered the house, and it doesn't seem like it's been that long that the sun is setting. But other than that, you're just in this room, and it's roughly 30 feet wide, 40 feet long, and has 12-foot high, vaulted ceilings. And there's a number of places throughout the room where one might, sit and listen to chamber music being played, and, of course, as you had seen before, there are a multitude of instruments on display throughout the room. Some of them you recognize. There's violins, there's harps, there's a cello. Others are unfamiliar to you. Some of them look downright ancient and probably unplayable. You get the impression, looking around this room, that much like everything else you have seen of this house so far, that wasn't a nightmare-fueled hallucination. It's set up. These are collector's pieces rather than something that probably gets played all that often. But you're in this room. What are you guys doing?
I would like to go to the window.
Go to the window.
Take a look out front. Is there any I imagine I can't open the window at this point.
Nope.
Can I see through it though?
Yeah, you just see outside to the grounds.
I would like to attempt to cast Mold Earth to just excavate a hole, just wherever the nearest inconvenient spot is, just pop a hole, and
just outside.
just outside if I can.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You
so
move some dirt.
I'm just gonna pop up.
If I guess if what you're getting at is like if you're trying to see if what you're seeing outside is real, it seems to be. You are able to move soil outside on the ground.
No, I just want to leave a hole in the front yard.
Right, yeah, you do
just
that.
so it's like ridiculous. Like there's a hole.
Okay, so you just make a big hole in the front yard, or the side yard, I guess, as you are.
Like I guess I'm looking like out.
Yeah, you're
out
kind of.
here.
I mean, sort of the front-ish of the house. Okay.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna do it there.
I'm going to start inspecting some of the instruments.
Okay. Make an investigation check.
But can I help?
What's that?
Or-
Do you have like particular knowledge about musical instruments? Then no.
It's a 4.
A 4. So I mean, yeah, as far as you can tell, like exactly as I dictated, like there's a bunch of regular instruments that you recognize and are familiar with, and there's some other ones that look like they are like antiques, or even like to the level of like artifact level, old. Any of the like normal instruments, you feel pretty confident that like you would stand up to being like picked up and messed with if you wanted to. Some of the more unfamiliar ones, you know, especially with your rings, like you think you could probably start messing around with. There are definitely a few in here that you probably like. You figure like if I go to like pick this up and try and play it, I'm gonna break it because it's so fragile looking.
I'm going to go for the weirdest looking one that looks playable.
Okay.
And attempt to play it.
All right. So you pull up this like weird. It's like a table thing on wheels, and there is a long, like metal base to it, and an upright, like piece of metal
Oh, I know what it
that
is.
sticks up. Yeah.
Bob doesn't know what it is, but I know what it is.
You have no idea what this is. You've never seen it before, but like your fingers know what to do as you like put your hands into it and you begin to like woo, and it makes this like woo.
I immediately play the Star Trek theme.
Okay.
That is,
So as
strange
you play
instrument,
you play a few notes on this fantasy theremin. There is a response from the house.
Oh boy.
That's
no.
tomato gets thrown at you.
The response from the house is thus. The floorboards creak. Paintings on the walls shift, and there is a sound like wind coming through the windows. And these sounds, they persist. The dissonant noises of the house, they come together, they unify to make a singular noise. At first, it's like grating against your ear, but after a few moments, it starts to clarify. And Brahm, you realize, with your your knowledge, as this ambient noise of the house sustains this, there's no other word for it. It sustains this note. The instruments in the room begin to move and shift and join into this sound. And you realize, like an orchestra, the house is tuning to A.
Okay.
And the sound fades. And there's silence. And then the curtains pull shut of their own accord. The lamps in the room extinguish, plunging both you and Walter into darkness. Darkness so complete that even with dark vision, you can see nothing in the chamber. And there is nothing for a few moments but utter blackness. And after a moment, there is a singular as all around you in a 20-foot, or a 30-foot diameter circle, 20 foot lamps blaze to life. And they illuminate this perfect 30-foot diameter circle around you. And then another light appears. A white light from above illuminating you, shining down like a spotlight, as if you were standing on stage and you were perfectly in the center of this area. And then beyond the black void outside the ring of illumination, you hear it. Music. The house
Has invented the electric guitar.
invented the electric guitar. Actually, that's the, should have been much more dramatic. It should have been, the house begins to play music. The darkness outside of your single shaft of light, you see, begins to ripple as if it were a black stage curtain. Roll initiative.
Uh, 20, not an extra.
20, okay. 15. Brahm.
The theremin still there, or is it
Just disappears. Brahm, Walter. You guys prepare yourself. Getting ready for whatever it is that the house is about to throw at you. And as you do, standing back to back in the center of this circle, we're gonna switch.
cool?
Kalanula.
Are they Hobbiton?
Schmobbiton?
Demonetized! Kel and Nula. You pass through the doorway, out of the staircase, and you are immediately struck with a profound sense of wrongness. Nothing about your sense of the world around you, or in fact even your own body, feels right. It is as if everything has been taken and pulled flat along a single plane. You look ahead of you and behind you, a landscape of sorts seems to stretch out into the distance in either direction. Or at least what you would describe as the most basic representation of a landscape. And looking down at yourselves, you see not your normal flesh and blood body, but what looks almost like a simplified rendering of yourself done in ink and watercolor. Your bags, your pockets, they're just flat outlines of where they appear on your shape with no actual depth. You don't even have fingers. Your hands are just these vaguely spade-shaped clubs with 4 lines drawn on them.
White gloves.
As you try to look to your left and to your right,
That could have slowly become a horrifying crab
It's-
monster during this description.
you feel this like a throb in your head, and a wave of nausea passes over you as your brain attempts to parse the fact that apparently the world has gone 2-dimensional.
Oh my!
You do manage to glean a few pieces of information from this quick glimpse, though. On one side of you, there is just a blank void.
Cool.
It's white, but it has like the slightest bit of a yellowish tint to the color of it. It's just like a nothingness. To the other side, it's as if you were like staring up a massive hole in the sky. You see an oil lamp, but it's an oil lamp that's like this size of a building. And beyond that, far off in the distance, it's a little hazy, but you see shelves that are lined with books.
I know where this is going.
I'm not on the ground. I don't have control.
Drop. Or place. I think we're on a pad of paper.
That's... Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I don't know where the ink is.
So as you kind of come to this, you vocalize this realization of like, I think we're on paper. A disembodied voice booms out, seeming to come from everywhere at once, and you notice, like, above you, words start to appear in a stylized text that sync up along with the voice. And the voice says, "Once upon a time."
Oh, this is lovely. Story time.
And it continues.
Everything was awful.
a kindly fisherman came upon a crystal cradle floating down the river.
I hope you still have that fishing book.
Inside were 2 babes, a boy and a girl.
Wait, what?
Like babies, but old-timey. Not like
Inside,
bodacious chicks.
inside the 2 smoking hot mamas.
As the voice speaks, the world around you shifts in rudimentary animation.
You're in Johnny
You see a fisherman draw a crystal cradle out of a river. 2 small babies are inside it, one swaddled in a pink blanket, one in a blue blanket. And the voice continues. The fisherman brought the babes home to his wife. Damn it! I have to change the text now. We can't continue like this. The fisherman brought the babies home to his wife and decided they would raise them as their own. And you see this depicted. And the voice proceeds. As the children grew, the fisherman and his wife were good folk, and they loved the children. But the others were cruel to the pair, taunting them for being orphans.
Oh, that's so sad.
And you see now the image of some children. They look to be rendered to be perhaps 12 or 13, and they have these like angry, jeering faces. But unlike the first 2 images that you guys were shown, the perspective has shifted. Rather than like watching this from off to the side, you find yourselves in the point of view that the 2 children would have. And the voice continues.
Is he wearing a sailor outfit yet?
No, you just look like yourselves.
Okay.
The voice continues. When they were upset, often the boy and the girl would go to the riverbank, where they would feed crumbs to the birds. And you see a riverbank in front of you, and there are a number of various types of waterfowl, such as ducks, egrets, and herons, depicted before you, and they sit placidly in the water, and they're watching you, and they seem to be waiting.
Do I have
I'm going
grubs?
to reach into my poorly drawn pockets.
Okay. You reach into your pockets, and like what happens is like, as your hand descends to where the pocket would be, it just like ceases to exist inside that
I have an
flat
existential
space.
crisis.
You're like, ah! But as you draw your hands back, you see like they are now filled with like rudimentary representations of like breadcrumbs, and as you
It's just an entire loaf of bread.
yeah, it is. It's like it's an animated bread, and you just throw the animated bread in the direction of the ducks. And as you do this, as you take this action, you hear like a little harp arpeggio plays, and
Do we turn the page?
sort of. The voice continues. Basically, like once you like took this action, the appropriate action for the story moves on, and the voice narrates. In gratitude, the birds taught them to speak their language. And then one of the birds is just like, yo, thanks for the bread!
Best day ever!
And the voice continues.
Two-dimensional.
We're
You're having 2
talking
very
ducks.
different experiences.
The voice continues. One day, when the other children were particularly cruel to them, the boy and the girl set out into the world to seek their fortunes. And like you're both holding bindles, like homo style. And the landscape is like moving past you, even though you're just like standing still, almost as if you were on like a treadmill, like a shitty.
She is aggressively acting as if she's walking
Yeah,
back.
and like the same
background,
like
I'm just
this, the
standing
background
there
moves, and
staring.
like this same like tree and mountain and house pass by you.
Yep.
And the voice continues, and it says, when they stopped to rest along their journey, they heard some birds gossiping. And you see depicted before you a tree with some birds sitting in it up above you. And you hear them, they're having a conversation, and one of the birds says, I heard the king married the daughter of a common tailor against the wishes of the nobility. And another bird says,
Just so. Soon after he was obliged to go to war, and when he returned, he was told that his wife had given birth to twins, but they had died.
Another bird speaks up. Furthermore, they told him that in missing her babies, the queen had gone mad with grief and had to be shut up in a tower in the mountains, where the fresh air might restore her. Yet another bird says, "'Tis not even the juiciest worm of them all." And all the other birds are like, "Oh, come on."
Come on, Steve.
No, not Steve. One goes, "Come on, Brian. Don't do worm-related wordplay. You're better than that." Brian seems a little abashed, and he says, "Well, anyway, I heard that the babes didn't die at all. They were secreted away to the gardener's cottage, and in the night, a chamberlain came and threw them into the river in a crystal cradle. And the voice continues as you're like, it's us. It says,
The children recognized this tale as matching how the fishermen had come upon them when they were infants.
Royalty!
The birds went on to say that only the bird of truth could convince the king that they were really his children, and that the bird was kept by a giant who only slept 1/4 of an hour a day in the castle of Come and Never Go. Only a witch could tell the way to the castle, and she would not do it unless she was given water from the fountain of many colors. Furthermore, the bird of truth was surrounded by the birds of ill faith, and only an owl could tell the difference."
We gotta find water, we gotta find an owl, then find a witch to tell us which bird. Did you get this all down?
I can repeat stuff for
You
you.
know that you're not royalty, right? You're still Nula.
You realize that you're in a house that's trying to murder you, and you shouldn't be so excited.
As
Like, you let me know when you want me to set the page that we're on fire.
No, I like this page.
Just remember, it's not real.
It is for...
So I was about to have like wild magic panic attack.
Alright, so as this narrator delivers this like huge exposition dump, and you guys kind of discuss like your plan going forward and what you're gonna do, we're gonna shift scenes again, and we're gonna go to our third pair. And Alar and Ronnie, you step through the door, and you find yourselves standing on a vast expanse of flat wooden floor. You begin to notice things in the space. Nearby you, there is the single largest onion that either of you have ever seen. It is twice your height, and it looks like if it rolled over you, it would crush you flat. There are other vegetables as well. There are potatoes, carrots, a truly gargantuan sack just labeled barley. Some distance away, you see that there is another flat, square bit of finished wood sitting on top of the surface that looks like you could fit a cottage on top of it. And beside it sits a knife, as long as the mast of a ship. And a glorious smell fills the air. You've never smelled anything so good in your entire life, or been able to smell it so keenly before. You can make out each individual element to this complex aroma, and you identify the source as a large pot suspended over a hearth on the far side of what you now gather is a kitchen sized for giants.
Okay, so we're tiny. You're tinier, Scooter.
You turn. Scooter is gone, actually, and you're like, "Oh, Scooter's gone," and he's not answering your summons at the moment.
Great.
Oh, this is bad.
And you turn and you kind of say like, "We're tiny," and Ronnie's like, "What?" And as you turn and look at her, you realize it's not that you're in a kitchen size for giants. I mean, it is that you're tiny, but not necessarily in the way that you think. Aylar, as you look at Ronnie, you don't see a gold scale, a bronze scaled copper. What the hell color is Ronnie? Copper.
Copper.
Yeah.
Copper scaled dragonborn. You see, still sort of an elongated skull. You see a button nose. You see 2 large round ears, whiskers, and a sort of burnished, blondish copper fur. As standing before you is Ronnie, except she's a field mouse. And you look down,
Yeah,
and you are also a field
Yeah.
mouse.
Inhale.
You're
Pull out-
both. You're
Alright,
both
pull out
wearing.
a little steel mirror.
You are a mouse. She is a mouse. You are both wearing like little mouse-sized versions of your clothing and carrying little mouse-sized versions of your weaponry. But you are a pair of
Horrifying.
field mice.
I'm not sure we got the horrifying one.
You are a pair
Right
of
off
field
the bat,
mice
horrifying one.
on an enormous counter in an enormous kitchen.
Long exhale. Just.
And Ronnie is like, you could, there, like, food is so much bigger at this size.
Ronnie.
Oh my god, I could eat so much in here.
Ronnie, focus.
Sorry.
It's okay. We gotta get out of here. Because mice in a kitchen, not a good thing.
She's like, oh, snap. Yeah, yep. Alright. As you kind of look around, go ahead and make an investigation check.
Wish you guys
I'll
could
let
see
you,
it.
why don't you make it with advantage, because I'm not going to roll for her. Just, we'll let that be the representation.
24.
Okay. So what you see, you are in a kitchen. You are on a counter on one side of the kitchen. Across the kitchen, on the far counter, there is like a glorious wheel of cheese sitting on a cheese board. And there is, to one side, there is a door, presumably out of the kitchen. To the other side, there is the hearth with the pot and the soup. There's like a table and some chairs over in that direction as well. And you see, beside the hearth, in the baseboard, there is a mouse hole. And in it, there are, I think there's like, there's like a bunch of like little like mouse orphans are in the mouse hole, and they're like looking at the pair of you, and they're like pointing at the cheese, and then they're pointing at their mouths and like doing this with their little mouse paws on their mouse tummies, and they're real cute. They're very cute.
Under my breath, I'm just muttering curses in Draconic. Alright, so apparently Crazy House wants us to get the cheese from all the way over there down there. Going to head over to the edge of the table, look down.
Yeah, so you head over to the edge of the counter, and you see, oh, and I should have been more specific, but we're also, like, on the counter that you're on, there's all the vegetables I described. There's also, like, jars with, like, yeah, there's all sorts of countertop things. I will also tell you, as mice, you guys have, like, sort of a modified version of spider climb. You can't go, like, upside down, but you can go up and down, like, vertical surfaces as you can, like, mousy climb your way. So you see that there, there's all this kind of, like, stuff on the countertop. The space between the two counters on the far side of the kitchen are fairly empty. There's, like, a rug on the floor, and then it's basically just, like, a kind of, like, a climb down, a climb up to this wheel of cheese. It's going to take you a little bit of time, as, like, you're very small, so it's an extremely large amount of space to cover. And as you guys are kind of going about your business, looking around this, trying to sort of plan your route, you hear the door to the kitchen swing open, and a colossus of a woman walks in. She towers, like, relative scale, she's like hundreds of feet tall. And she has got like mostly gray hair. It's like wrapped up in a bun. She wears like a housekeeper's dress, and she has an apron on. And you see she enters, and she turns, her gaze turns towards where the two of you are on this countertop. And as her eyes meet hers, you see that like flash of iridescent yellow in her eyes. And then she goes, "Mice in the kitchen!" And she reaches and she grabs a rolling pin from the counter and charges you guys. So now you guys are gonna roll initiative. Ooh, Ronnie gets a 2.
So
she has advantage on initiative, actually. Ronnie gets a 20.
I found Alar, by the way.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, you're the Mouseketeers. Or like Feifel. Initiative's +2, so she has a 22. Ronnie, Alar is a 2. 5.
Pick rate.
Just roll me 2. Because I can either do very well or very poorly. There is no middle ground.
Alrighty.
That is not him.
As the cook with her raised rolling pin looms over towards you guys, let us switch back
To the Battle of the Bands.
to the music room. Alrighty. Brom and Walter. The music swells. What sounds like a complete orchestra, accompanied by the sound of a few instruments that are foreign to you. And an otherworldly, like, chorus of voices rises up, seeming to be created by the house to accompany this orchestral piece that is being played. In the wavering darkness around the outside of your ring of light, it ripples more violently, and it disgorges a number of creatures that seem to be made purely of darkness. 8 humanoid figures, 4 live athletic female forms, and 4 powerful male forms. They are featureless, aside from like their shape. They're like it's like they're wearing like black morph suits essentially, and they rise up and they rush towards you. But they don't so much as like run as they like leap and they pirouette and they jete across the space in your guys' direction. And they're actually ahead of you guys in the initiative. We'll resolve this first round thusly. Each of you, as they close the space around you, Brahm, one of the female forms performs a grand jeté, which is like that move where they like leap like this and their legs are like completely out. Leaps at you in this grand jeté, and one of the male forms, Walter, performs a cabriolet leap in your direction, and they are both like flying through the air towards you guys. Brahm, you are up. What are you doing? This female form is like coming at you, like she's going to like jump kick you in the face.
Going to attempt to grab her by the leg, to swing her.
Okay,
with her own momentum.
Make an athletics check.
This would be a 19.
Okay. So she leaps at you, and moments before she like comes into contact with you, you reach forward and you like grab her leg. You get one arm under like the calf and one like just above the knee, and you like swing her and like divert her. And she actually, as you do this, the orchestral music in the background like swells with this move, and when you like release her, she does like a twisting corkscrew in the air and like lands gracefully on her feet. But you see her like sort of kind of interpretive pantomime, like, you know, landing and like
Dance fight.
and she
Dance
like
fight.
her form like flickers. Walter, you're up. There is a male form is about to like body slam into you. What are you doing?
He's like,
He's like, yeah, like this coming towards you.
Dance fight.
I want it to be a dance fight. I got a shovel. I can't dance.
That's a T-shirt.
That might be the best one-liner I've heard in all 23 episodes of this show.
I want it to be a dance fight, but I've got a shovel and I can't dance.
So yeah, I'm going to just pump it with Shillelagh, and I'm going to try to smack the guy out in the sky when he's coming at me.
Okay, roll the hit.
It's a dance fight. That's a 1.
That's a 1.
I mean, it's a 7 to hit.
So with the 7, what I will tell you is this: is you'll glean this information one way or the other. You swing the shovel, and it just passes through this figure as if he were made of smoke. And he completes this leap, and he doesn't body slam you so much as like he completes the leap, lands in front of you, and he like throws 2 hands on you and like does a bunch of dramatic like motions, and you take 9 psychic damage. As like every nerve in your body just like ignites with fire as this shadow ballerina styles on you.
Not in my house.
This is so hard you feel the pain.
My mustache twitches.
So it is their turn. So that was the completion of his attack, and Brahm. Another female form comes out of the. Does a 15 hit your armor class?
Yes.
Okay. Another one of these female figures like approaches up to you, and she comes up and like kind of crouches low, and you see she like gestures as if she's like flinging something at you, and you take 9 points of psychic damage.
Great, I'm doing well.
Or hurting.
The others, however, so you see, there are 8 of them, but they don't all rush you. They've been coming at you one at a time, and you see the others have like kind of closed around you, and they seem to be like acting out the rest of this ballet around you. They're moving, and they're like crouching low and rising up, and they're like rolling over each other, and they're clawing at each other. They seem to be like they're acting out the pantomime of like a slavering horde of beasts, just encircling you two, the valiant heroes of this tale, as you fight off the oncoming enemies. That brings us to the top of the round. Brahm, it's up to you again. What are you doing? As they like attack you, they kind of like retreat back to the circle, and they're all kind of like moving and circling around you.
I'm going to attempt to grab one of them gracefully and swing them into the others in like a circle.
Okay, make a. You know what? Let's.
Performance check.
I was gonna say, yeah. So I had planned this as if you guys would be making attack rolls, but if you want to do this as performance checks, you can.
18 plus 6.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you approach one of the male figures, and you sort of like you lunge out, and it actually like it reels away, but it throws a hand out towards you, like syncopating with your dance maneuver, and you grab it, and you like swing it in a circle, and as it goes, it sort of like twists in the air, and its feet like flutter gracefully out. and all around it in like the arc that you swing it, the other forms like recoil back dramatically and like shrink away into the darkness, and a number of them like all the way back into the darkness and like disappear into it. Walter, what do you got?
To follow my lead. All right, you want to dance? Let's dance.
All right.
Vampire touch.
Okay.
And drop the shovel, and then just attempt to kind of like the next one that comes at me, just kind of pirouette over.
Okay. So you can make same option. If you want to do this as performance, you can. If you want to make like a straight attack roll,
honestly plus
you
6
can. Okay. Then yeah, go ahead and make your roll.
Plus 6.
Yeah. It's an 18. Either way.
For sure, yeah. So one of the female forms like runs up to you and she like Dirty Dancing style like leaps up and you catch her with a vampiric touch and you like lift her up above your head. You don't have to roll damage. The vampiric touch doesn't necessarily seem to do anything as much as the dance maneuver seems to do the trick. As you like then kind of like toss her off to the side. She sort of lands in a low crouch and then like spins away and hurtles off into the darkness, disappearing.
I didn't actually sing it.
What are you doing?
I was trying to sing Dirty Dancing.
Oh yeah, don't get us demonetized. All right, it is their turn again. Two forms each rush forward towards you guys. A 20 to hit. And a 9. So we'll put the 20 is on Brahm. Sorry. The 9 is on Walter. So the
Probably dead.
the two of them, these two figures, rush up to you and to each of you, and they like grasp your arms and they begin like pulling you this way and that. Brahm, you take 3 points of psychic damage. Walter, you're sort of able to like dodge out of their grasp,
Single digit.
and they sort of like back towards the edge of the circle. And as you guys continue your fight, let's go check in on Kalanula. So, the scene has changed after that exposition dump. You are now in what appears to be like a rendering of a city. You're standing in front of an inn, and there's like a generic-looking man. He's just like standing, looking at you both. And the narration voice speaks and says,
The children went to the city where they begged hospitality of an innkeeper. He offered them food and shelter, in exchange that they work at his inn.
and you see the depiction of the innkeeper, and he's standing and he's gesturing at the open door of the inn. And beside that is a path that leads out of the city, and like you see like a distant forest. Again, the scene is still, and it is waiting for you to enact the appropriate sequence of events.
I grab a broom. Is there a broom there?
Sure.
Because I have to work at the end.
Okay, so you go forward and you begin to work at the inn, and as you do, as you grab this broom and try to begin to sweep, everything like rumbles.
Nope.
You each take 8 points of psychic damage. As you're just like, oh, racked with pain, and then a moment later, you're back where you were standing a second ago, and the voice repeats.
The children went to the city where they begged hospitality of an innkeeper. He offered them food and shelter in exchange that they work at his inn.
Your turn.
I mean, we have to find an owl and the Fountain of Colors. We're not going to find it at the end.
What do you think? We could just go to the forest over there?
Do you have a better idea? Let's go.
Or are we supposed to beg for the house?
I'm going to try to go to the woods.
Alright, Kel, you walk off towards the direction of the woods. And again, heart noise. And the the scene changes, and the story continues. The narrator says,
The children left, not to be deterred in their quest. They met a dove, who directed them to go with the wind.
and then there's like a dove, and he's like, that way. And
And by following it, they came to the witch's tower.
and again, you have like a brief montage of like that shitty travel scene goes past you, and you are standing before a huge twisting tower rising up before you, and a form emerges from it, a gnarled and ugly representation of a witch. She stands in front of you. She has one big eye glaring at you in menace. The other is just like an empty eye socket that has like moss packed into it.
Hello.
And she says, "What do you seek, little children?" And everything freezes, waiting.
We seek the way to the giant who has the bird of truth.
You seek the castle of come and never go. And the narrator picks up and it says,
The witch summoned a stray dog
and then like a dog just appears.
and instructed it to lead the children to the castle.
Lead the children to the castle.
Her price was to fill a jug, which she gave them.
And like you're just holding a jug.
To fill a jug which she gave them from the well of many-colored waters.
Fill this jug from the well of many-colored waters.
If they did not, she would turn them into lizards.
If you do not, I will turn you into lizards. So you were suddenly just holding this empty clay jug about the size of like an urn. And you see like the animated witch like shakes her fist in a threatening manner, and you are drawn back away from her. You hold up like flat one-dimensional, two-dimensional hand.
We're gonna be turned into lizards if we don't fill this jug.
None of this is real.
The landscape moves past you of its own
Staring in the
accord.
middle distance the entire time.
It's that bit from The Office. You're just looking ahead.
Yeah. So the landscape moves, illustrating like you're traveling for some distance, following this animated stray dog. And you come upon an ominously depicted castle. And you hear a hooting. And a large eagle owl is sitting in a branch of a tree, backlit by moonlight, and staring directly at you. Waiting.
Kind Eagle Owl, we seek to go to the castle of Come and Never Go, where we can get the bird of truth. We have been told that only one as wise as yourself can spot the bird of truth from amongst the birds of ill omen. Still just staring at the middle.
The owl turns his head this way and that. He seems to be sizing you up, and he says, "If you seek my wisdom, then you yourselves are wise. I have 2 pieces of advice for you. First, fill the witch's jug from another fountain, not that of many colors, or you will rue the day. Second, find the white bird in the corner. The bright colors of the others are a deceit." And the narrator says,
Having imparted the children with this wisdom, the owl took to wing and flew off into the sky.
the owl takes to wing and flies off into the sky.
The chime of a clock in the castle struck midnight, and the time of the giant's slumber had come.
giant.
Yeah, it's gonna sleep for 15 minutes. Let's go.
Alright, let's go.
All right, you guys hustle forward.
Paper Mario cutouts. Just like, yep.
You enter, you like approach the castle, and it just like it doesn't like get closer. It just like is like little, and then it's like a little bigger, and then it's like a little bigger, and then you're just in front of it. And then you're inside, and you find yourself in a large courtyard, and there are 3 wells in the courtyard, and there are hundreds and hundreds of birds in cages all around the area. And right in the center, there is a big sleeping giant.
Dove first.
You get the water. I'll find the bird. I'm gonna go into the closest corner.
Okay, make stealth checks.
You're at disadvantage, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about it.
Wait, I'm at disadvantage.
You're wearing heavy armor. You have disadvantage on stealth checks.
18.
Okay.
Oh, that was fine. 17.
17. Alrighty. And okay. You guys sneak through. Nula, you're heading for the water, you said?
Yep.
So you find, you kind of like start looking in these wells. One of them, as you like look in, you see there is like swirling, beautiful colored waters in it. The others just appear to have regular water.
Regular water.
Alright, you regular water fill your urn. Kel, make an investigation check.
22.
Okay. You have no problem. You find in the corner there is one cage that contains a snow white dove in it.
Very quietly, I presume that you are the bird of truth, and we would like to take you from here. Please come along.
He just like holds up a wing,
Yep.
and like one big feather makes a thumbs up.
Open it up. Hold it
He
in my
just
hand.
hops onto your hand.
Pull it out.
Alrighty. Okay. Make a stealth check to get back out.
17.
What did you do with disadvantage?
Oh. 10.
10?
19.
Okay. Not quite gonna do it. You head out, and Nula, a little bit of the clink of your armor, and you hear as this dumb, like, shittily animated giant gets up. Everything goes red. You guys each take 2 points of psychic damage. And you are back, Kel, holding the bird of truth, Nula, by the bucket of water.
I got the regular well water.
I got the bird.
Alright, let's get out of here. Or should I done the rainbow one?
I don't know.
Alright.
Maybe we should have to get out this time.
Alright, let's get out.
Alright, stealth checks again.
9.
9?
10.
You make it. Very loudly, but the giant seems to be a heavier sleeper this time. You make it out of the castle of Come and Never Go with the bird of truth and a jug of water for the witch, and you hear and the narrator says, "Victorious, the children returned with their jug of water for the witch and their prize, the bird of truth." And Kel, even though you had like taken it out in your like enacting of it, it doesn't seem like the story can really adapt that widely to like. It's just like you're suddenly holding a cage, like a golden cage with a bird in it, and newly you have that jug. The children set off with their canine guide to return to the witch and give her back the jug, fearful that she meant them harm.
She might mean us harm. Oh no.
And back in the kitchens. First to act is Ronnie. What do you want to have Ronnie do?
Go that way. I got an idea.
She's like,
so
what way?
I point down.
Okay.
Over the edge, down to the right.
She's like, got it, and she just goes off. And she gets over the edge of the countertop, and she's like part of the way down the countertop, heading for the floor. And what are you doing?
I am casting Silent Image.
Okay.
And I'm creating duplicates going in the opposite direction, and then heading down.
All right. I assume you're hiding yourself to try and like let the duplicates take them.
And I'm using my bonus action to disengage.
Oh, you're gonna like.
Yep.
Okay. So let's have her. We'll do some odds and evens here. Okay. So, you guys, you are about halfway down the cupboard, and the cook with the rolling pin kind of runs in, and as you make these silent images, she goes like, "Oh, mice everywhere! This won't do!" But she is closer to you guys, and the others are like running away as you guys are going down. She is gonna take a whack at you guys with her rolling pin. So that is that's only a 9 to hit, so that's not gonna get you guys. But like, there's like a thunderous bang as a rolling pin like the size of a tree trunk slams into the side of these cupboards next to you. I'm going to need you guys both to make dexterity saving throws to try and hang on. Ronnie makes hers. Target's a 15.
I roll a 15 and more.
Okay, so you like the impact of this rolling pin as she like whacks it into the cabinet, like jars you, and you like hang on with your little mousy hands, and you manage not to fall off. And that brings it back to Ronnie's turn. So she's gonna continue. She gets the rest of the way down onto the floor, and she's kind of like, you know, looking like what she's gonna do. She kind of like looks back up at you. She's like, "Do we have to do the cheese thing?"
Probably.
Shit. All right, it is your turn.
I'm going to direct the silent images to move toward the crazed cook woman and just start, skittering under her feet.
Alrighty.
And I'm going
Well, they're on top of the counter, so they can't get all the way down to here, but they can get they can come back towards her that way. All right, so she will.
And I will bonus action disengage to get back down to roughly where I am.
Jesus. Tough break. Okay, so you get down. You're both on the floor now. She kind of sees this, and she goes, "Ah!" And the rolling pin, she slams on top of the counter.
Okay.
So with a natural 20, I'm gonna say she like creams where the silent images are, and she realizes like, what? And she looks, and she's gonna like stomp towards you guys.
Crap.
16 hit.
It does.
Okay. So you are both gonna take 6 points of bludgeoning damage as she like stomps you.
Uncanny dodge.
Okay. So you'll take 3. Ronnie will take the full 6. She's not currently raging.
Okay.
All right, and it is Ronnie's turn. So she's like, "You're sure the cheese?" As she's like running across the like this open expanse of floor.
You saw the kids. Go for the cheese.
She's like, "Goddamn orphans!" And she gets about halfway across the kitchen floor with her sprint action. Which brings us to you. What are you doing?
She's the cook is gonna have to make a wisdom save.
Okay.
It is a
Tell you what,
13.
Alar, I didn't give the spectral cook a wisdom score, but she rolls a 10, so she's gonna fail.
Okay. I'm looking up at her. She's looking up at me, and in pure Tom and Jerry fashion, She starts my hideous laughter.
Okay.
And then I.
Alrighty, so with her
bonus action dashed it.
she falls prone, right?
Yes.
Okay, guess what you guys are about to do? Dexterity save, as she's like, and she like a felled building is just like coming down.
I did not think this through.
Ronnie crits on her dex save, so she'll get out of the way. How did you do?
16.
That's enough. So you guys you're running. What was that movie where Charlize Theron is like running from a ship that's falling? Prometheus?
Yes.
Like running as she's like and like 10-15 feet aside, down, you're like, and you go this way, and she like to the ground in between you guys. So it is the end of her turn. She'll repeat her save. She gets a 1. She pees a little.
Okay.
And she laughs.
Special pee.
Run, get that dance. So Ronnie's like, fine. So she runs. She goes, you know what? Wait a minute. So instead of dashing this turn, she runs. She takes her full move action. Mm-hmm. But as she like backpedals the last like 15 feet or so, she just like pulls one of her javelins out and throws it at the woman. What? No! And if that's a 10 plus whatever her thing is, but like it's, I would say it's like hitting the broadside of a barn, but she's way bigger than the broadside of a barn by you. So this javelin just like hits her, and does presumably a little bit of damage. I guess she repeats her saving throw, right?
Yep.
Jesus. She fails. So she keeps laughing, and Ronnie makes it to the bottom of the cupboard. Don't attack her, just keep going. She's like, I'm fine, and she starts to like mount the cupboard. What are you doing with your turn?
I'm because I concentrate on hideous laughter.
No, I don't think it is. Yeah.
I'm going to use my 2 actions to dash and then bonus action dash again. So I'm going to.
So you get like you pass Ronnie as you're like up this cabinet. Alrighty, so that makes it her turn again. She'll laugh a bunch at the end of her turn. She gets a 19 on her saving throw. So
okay, so she stops laughing.
Okay, so she's like, oh, I haven't laughed like that since I was a little girl. But there are mice about! And she like, Shadow of the Colossus stands back up.
Loud curse.
Just to really set the scene, this is like a Godzilla-sized Mrs. Doubtfire you guys are fighting.
Loud cursing, interconic, maybe faintly heard somewhere in that 2-dimensional realm.
She like plucks a toothpick-sized javelin out of her like arm. How insolent! And she flicks it, and she goes and picks up the knife off of the counter. And she's dual-wielding a rolling pin and a knife. But that's all she can do because it was the end of her turn when she saved. So it is Ronnie's turn.
Drive-by fruiting deer.
So Ronnie will use her turn. She can get to the top of this new counter. It is your turn.
I will get to the top of the counter as well.
Alrighty.
And worked so well last time. New wisdom save.
There's
13.
laughter. She gets a 10. She fails.
Hang on!
She's like, oh, damn it! And she falls down again. Ronnie's already at the top. I'm not gonna make you make a save to like hang on. I don't think she hits that hard that it like shakes the counters. So that's your turn. She falls. The end of her turn, she rolls an 11, so she keeps laughing for another turn. And it is Ronnie's turn. So Ronnie will sprint. She gets up like with her full movement. She gets up to this like block of cheese that's like the size of a house. She's like, cut some of it off. All right, well, she can't do that on her turn, but she only just got there. But it is your turn.
Okay. Well, I will dash using the bonus action, and I will pull out the rapier.
All right, so you slice a hunk of this wheel of cheese off. And you have like, what is like a slice of cheese, but to you is like, oh. And you're able to just kind of like stuff it into your bag. And you have secured the cheese, and you look over, and they're like the mice orphans in their little hole are like, yeah! One of them has a pennant that says Alar on it.
I hate this house. I hate this house. I hate this house.
Alright, it is her turn. She succeeds on her saving throw. She gets back up. She's like dusting her house dress off. And she moves towards you guys, and she is going to bring down the rolling pin and the knife, trying to wail into you guys. So against Ronnie with the rolling pin is a 4. Against you with the 4 plus, that's a 9. It's not gonna hit. 16 hits you.
It does.
So you're gonna get whacked with the rolling pin for 7 points of bludgeoning damage, and you are knocked prone as you get flattened into the ground. So yeah, you'll take 3, and you're still like you're just knocked down by the rolling pin. Ronnie's actually going to use her action to just pick you back up. She just hauls you by your shirt up to your feet and starts running.
Okay.
So she can't quite dash, but she gets you to your feet.
Thanks. Run.
And then you take off running. All right. Anything else with your turn besides just like sprinting?
No, I'm not at first level spells, unfortunately. So now I'm down to, let's see, what do I got left? I will try a minor illusion.
Alright.
So images of us running behind the cheese wheel.
Okay. She is pretty good on her wisdom there. So I don't think she's going to be fooled.
Okay.
And that brings us to her. She, as you guys make the run towards the mouse hole, instead of pursuing you, she like sets the rolling pin and the knife down, and you hear her her booming voice. She goes, "I need my broom!" And she walks towards the other side of the kitchen, where the door is where she came in. And you see her grab a broom. That's what she does with her turn. Ronnie, on her turn, will run. She basically overtakes you again, and she actually she's just gonna Mission Impossible. She just dives off the edge of this counter, and you see her just hurtle out of sight. And it's your turn.
Running to the edge and using the bonus action to dash down to.
Okay, so you are scuttling down. You can get, we'll say you can get to the bottom of the back to the floor. You get to the floor, and a second later, Ronnie just craters into the floor. She takes 3 points of damage. As your relative mouse weights seem to affect the rules of how far you can fall without actually hurting yourselves. She doesn't take that much damage. She does hit the ground and kind of gets up. She's like, "Oh, okay, ready? Go, 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 go." All right. And with the cook's turn, she begins to come back towards you, and you hear her. She yells out. She goes, "Turnip! Turnip, stop loafing about and do your job, you lazy freeloader!" And as she says this, you guessed it, there is a rumble from around one of the counters, and a gargantuan, fluffy white cat slinks out, stretching as if just awoken for a nap. Its expression is lazy and bored, until it turns its head and it spots the two of you. And then, you see its pupils, dilate, and it just goes rushes at you.
So this is hell.
So it just, yowls and charges, and it is now between you and the mouse hole. And as it barrels down on you guys, we will head back to the music room.
We're both almost dead.
Dance like your life depends on
You
it.
guys, yeah,
It does.
Yeah, we hard cut back to Brahm and Aylar, and you guys are just fucking like voguing as hard as you can.
I was gonna say we're like grease snapping at them, like just
you're grease snapping, your jazz hands, you're just doing everything you can think of. But you've been like fighting this battle, and at this point, the the music is like rising to this like massive crescendo, and these creatures that you have been fighting, they kind of in unison, they begin to like back away from you, and they're like shrinking and cowering in fear. But yep, you pose, and as you pose, as you Usain Bolt, as you like dab on them really hard, you see their forms like shudder, and they like, and they're backing away. You see that they're not just like shrinking from you; they're also like shrinking away from something in a spot like towards the darkness, and the music rises to this like discordant note, and a massive beast steps towards you. It is made of shadow, just like the other creatures, but whereas they were like humans doing like ballet enactments of creatures, this is a monster.
Cool. Probably doesn't want to
At each fall of its hooves, the floorboards beneath your boots like vibrate with the weight of it. And the music just swells to this frantic level, and the white spotlight above you takes on a red hue. It is 15 feet tall. It is as wide as both of you guys are shoulder to shoulder, and it has a massive, like, bovine-shaped head with two horns coming out the sides. And it steps towards you, and it like stomps one foot forward and like pantomimes as if it's like roaring, and like all of the like the wind section goes like as it does this. But then something happens. There is a flicker, and just for a moment, everything is normal. You see the music room as no more than just a normal chamber. The blackness, the foot lamps, the creature, they disappear. The curtains to the room are drawn, leaving it dim, but up against the walls you see a figure. A woman. She's no more than 20. And she is entombed partially in that same organic-looking, luminescent, like, nodule that you had found the gardener in. Her face and her head, they're only partially encased, and her eyes are open. And she is staring directly at you guys. Her mouth is covered, it prevents her from speaking, but the expression that you can see on her face is clear enough. It is desperation, and like a monumental internal struggle is taking place behind her eyes. And her eyes, they flick from you, just over your shoulders, and back, just for a second. And as you look, you turn, and you see the door to the room. And it is ever so slightly ajar. And an instant later, you hear this muffled, like, and an iridescent yellow flashes over her eyes, and the darkness swells up again. But unlike before, it's not coming all at once. The woman, she vanishes behind the darkness, and it begins like racing across the room, threatening to encircle you again. The huge creature rematerializes and is like moving towards you, but the door's still there, and it's still open. What are you guys doing?
Son of a bitch.
Throw a door.
She's already like gone in the darkness, and I will tell you, since you might have like come across this, like that hard border, like the border of the light, is like a physical barrier that you guys have not been able to get past.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not really.
It's not like a can you save the girl option. I'll tell you that. Since you have 6 hit points, and
Okay,
I don't
door
want you to
then.
kill yourself.
Nope. I'm out of spell slots. I can't Misty Step out of the door, and we're booking it.
Alrighty.
We want to like aggressively dance at the door at this point, just in case we haven't been stuck in the shadow dance realm.
Sure. Why
All right.
Alright.
Cool.
Alright, so
Everybody
you
must
guys,
shadow dance
you
away.
rush out. And
You do the running man, but actually running. Cabbage Patch, but still running. Worst thing anyone's ever seen.
Kel and
Just
Nula.
like snapping really fast. It's all Tim.
Get the fuck out of here.
You are, Kel and Nula, you are standing in front of the witch again. And she is staring expectantly at the jug. She snatches it from you. You hear "Bling." The narrator says, "The children gave the witch the jug, and she laughed cruelly and splashed it upon them." And she, like, reaches her hand to the jug, and she's like, and, like, flicks water at you. No. Not well, I mean, you can say but what actually happens, this is, she splashes water upon them, and commanded them to become parrots. Become parrots! But alas,
Parrots?
parrots. But alas,
Become
the children
parrots?
did not become parrots. You don't become parrots. The water that splashed them, it only made them more handsome. And you guys, like, suddenly, like, you know, like handsome Squidward? you guys are like,
Everything goes to off focus.
and suddenly all of the animals in the tower threw themselves into the water, and they became human again. And, like, this happens, and all these animals start, like, coming from everywhere, and, like, diving in this water, and, like, poof, poofing into human beings. And the narrator says, "And the witch fled." Yeah, there's, like, a cheer goes up, and you witness this scene plays out. The witch, she splashes this water. You guys turn into handsome Squidward, and, not parrots. And then all of the animals, they come and they dive into this water, they turn into humans, and then the witch, like, runs. But all of this happens with such, like, vigor, it, like, physically feels like a stampede. You feel, like, shaken. Go ahead and make a perception check, both of you guys, for me.
We're gonna do Tides of Chaos.
Okay.
14.
14.
17.
Okay. That's good enough for both of you to notice the current situation as you see. You notice above, as you feel this like stampede. It actually looks like the shaking is not confined to this like weird animation space. It actually looks like the book itself is being shaken by this. You see the massive lamp above you is jostled, and it falls over. And suddenly, you begin to see flames licking up around the edge of the pages.
No.
And beyond, you see the library itself begin to catch fire.
My kingdom!
And it is like, whereas everything before this, like besides the psychic damage you took when you made like a wrong choice, has seemed like pretty inconsequential to like your physical well-being. It's getting hot. Like, you're in legit danger now, you figure. The narrator, however, seems unaffected by the current predicament, and he continues on with his tale. And he says, "The children brought the bird of truth to the king, who listened and at once embraced his children." And you are starting to feel like warm as a cartoon monarch just wraps his arms around you and hugs you. And the narrator says, "The king and his children went all three at once to free their mother from the tower." And the pages around you are beginning to burn and blacken as you are standing in front of the tower with the cartoon monarch and a cartoon queen whose upper body is just like a blackened hole where the page is burned away.
Mommy!
The narrator says, "The wicked courtiers who were responsible for it all had their heads cut off, and the fisherman and his wife were given riches and honor." And like the book around you is like glitching out and like freaking out at this point, as you keep flicking perspective back and forth between a big scene of like happy characters hugging and being joyous at a feast and like a bunch of severed noble heads. And the fire like roars around you, consuming the book, and the narrator is barely audible above you as you hear him say, "The end." And you find yourselves being ejected out of the book as it is consumed by flame. You are back in the normal world in your regular bodies. As you guys are tossed like DJ Jazzy Jeff style out of this book, and you're just like across the room, along with just a loose assortment of like severed heads fly out, as well as a crystal cradle which just like shatters on the floor. And you are in what you take to be Bolus Trollyweather's library.
Did you get a bird?
Is there a white bird?
There is not a white bird.
Okay.
It is a sizable room. It has hundreds and hundreds of books on the shelves.
On fire?
And literally everything is on fire. Everything. You can just make out the outline of the door about 10 feet from you. And the smoke is like already choking your lungs and your eyes.
I grab Kel again.
What are you guys doing?
I grab Kel
You grab Kel.
and run for the door.
Alright, are you allowing yourself to be hauled to the door?
I suppose.
Now you just have to be grabbed.
I will, so as you guys like run for the door, both of you make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Nooble's gonna get me-tooed if she doesn't want you.
Constitution?
Yep.
20, but not natural.
Okay.
Surprised you didn't DJ Jazzy Jeff Kel up the door, they just Misty step out.
I don't have
22.
Okay, so you're both fine. You all like hold your breath. As you guys are like running for the door and like heading out, you notice you're both still like kind of handsome Squidward. you're like beautified versions of yourself. And you rush for the door, and I assume Kel is like, "No, the books!" But you guys burst through the door out of this room. And back in the kitchen. Alar and Ronnie, you guys are... You have a cat between you and the hole. You have a broom-wielding...
Our cameras apparently just went out.
Shit.
Except for the map.
Well, if the cameras went out...
Like Discord?
Yep.
Alright, well, stick with us. We literally have like 2 minutes left and we're gonna end the stream, so I guess we'll just deal with it.
So, Discord took horrifying shit all over.
Discord took...
All over our enjoyment.
Took a poo. Well, that's okay. We're right at the end here, so it's not too horrifying. You're on the floor of the kitchen. Between you and the sanctuary of that mouse hole is Turnip the cat. Behind you, the cook is in the process of fetching her broom and coming back for you. What are you doing?
Okay. Get ready to run.
She takes like a sprinter stance.
When I hit the cat, and I hand her in the bag, go for the hole. I'll be behind you.
Got it?
And I'm going to charge the cat.
Okay, you charge the cat. She starts running, like, peeling off around you.
And drawing my rapier, and I am going to stab the cat and attempt to cast Booming Blade.
Okay, roll it.
23.
That definitely hits. Go ahead and roll some damage.
Where is the 8? 8 points of piercing damage and 2 points of thunder damage.
Okay, so you see, like, the cat, like, kind of like, and his hair goes, stands up as it takes this, like, his, and meanwhile, Ronnie, like, peels off around it. She runs, you kind of see, like, over this, like, writhing cat form. You see her, like, pelt into the mouse hole. The cat moves to, like, go take a swipe at you, but is, like, hit by your backup damage.
Mm-hmm. Where is it? There we go. That's better. 7 points.
Okay, takes another 7 points, and it goes like, and it jumps all 4 feet like off the ground, and like lands like a foot back from you. It's coming after you again, but like you've cleared your path. So at this point, like we'll say it's your turn. You're free to move. You just pelt for the door. Alrighty, you hurtle through the mouse hole. The mice orphans have like put up like a finish line ribbon. You like break through it, and now we see the foyer of the Bolus Trollyweather's house. It is nighttime now. At this latitude, Egeria's rings are a single thin beam of silvery light that stretches from horizon to horizon directly overhead. The foyer sits in the quiet, bluish illumination from the rings. The window panes surrounding the front door, casting long shadows on the floor. Simultaneously, 3 separate things happen. From one side of the door, from one side of the foyer, a door opens, just like bursts open, and Brom and Walter come hurtling out, jazz handsing or whatever you guys are doing. There's like a blare of like rock and roll orchestra music comes out of the room.
Yep.
You guys launch into this foyer. The door slams shut behind you, and the music is cut off. At the exact same moment as Ronnie and Nula seem to like rise up out of the ground as you guys come out of a mouth. Ronnie and Alar seem to like rise up out of the ground as you guys come out of a mouse hole in the baseboard, and like you're now yourselves again, and you like to normal size.
I
and
collide with one of them.
You're pretty far apart at this point. It's a large space, and you like the mouse hole like whoop, behind you sinks, and then above on the landing on the second floor. The door, like right in the center of the landing, bursts open, and like a fireball comes out, and Nula and Kel just like run out. But I imagine it's kind of like the fireball version of Baywatch, as they're both like beautiful, as they just come like out of this fireball of this burning library.
So we can those cameras.
And you guys like skid to a stop at the top of the banister.
I'm being carried.
Yeah, you're being carried. The door slams shut to the library, and silence takes the chamber again. And you guys, Alar, Ronnie, you two, you're down on the bottom. You guys are up on the balcony, like looking down at them from the second floor.
Did you have your scales done?
You both look so radiant.
Be careful, or she'll make you start referring to her as Her Highness.
I am royalty!
Okay.
No.
I guess they
No.
did a dance off.
No. Absolutely not.
And as you guys are kind of like standing here, Brom and Walter look like they got the shit kicked out of them. I don't know how Ronnie's not doing great either.
Yeah, I'm looking rather rough too.
You guys did surprisingly well in your room. You didn't get beat too bad. You rolled very well on a lot of checks.
To be fair, we rolled into our room not doing great.
That's true.
You're already at half health and like took any damage.
As you guys are kind of like collecting your breath, sort of like standing here for a moment. Jimmy the puppet. What is his name?
I go Slap, but we can't call him Slappy.
Oh.
That's a Goosebumps thing.
The puppet man comes out of the door.
Kick our ass.
Immediately shoot him in the face with an Elder's Blast.
He can be called Derek now.
Okay.
Just as soon as I see his stupid face coming out of the wall,
Since we're short on time, I'm not even gonna make you roll. We'll say you hit him.
Yeah.
He comes out of the door. This Eldritch Blast just like plows into his face, and you hear the like double like tuck, tuck, as his head is hit by the Eldritch Blast, and then like cracks the door behind him. And as he leans forward again, the one human eye that he has is not glowing yellow anymore, and you see like the wooden part of his face is just frozen, but there's like a look of abject terror on the human part of his face. And a voice, you hear a voice which is not as like omniscient, but seems to be coming like directly from him. He says, "Third floor, right up the top of the stairs, fourth door on the left, please." And as he says that, he's like, and the door puppet man goes back into the door, and another 3 simultaneous things happen. The door to the music room, the door to the library behind you, and the door to the kitchen all bang open. And out of the music room steps the large, black, shadowy minotaur. Out of the kitchen comes a thing that looks sort of like a feline, but it's like the size of a tiger, and it has like sleek blue fur and like a triple set of like tentacles coming off of its back. And your door bangs open. The library is not on fire anymore, and it actually looked perfectly fine in there. Nothing is burned, but it doesn't. You don't see anything come out. And we will start next session by rolling initiative.
Cheese it! Cursing in Draconic.
Alrighty. So, that's our show.